welcome to the Sigma Show, episode 111. I am your host, Sigma. Just before I let you know who is joining me today, real fast, we're going to go into our topics, which there are not many. It's been a very slow news week. So really, we're just going to be talking mainly about what we've been playing, watching, listening to, all that stuff. That'll probably be the bulk of the show. But there is that news of famous Twitch streamer Kai Cenat essentially inciting a riot in... Ooh, wait, I just heard myself like very clearly for like a quick second, but it went away. I don't know. I'm haunting myself. But yeah, Kai Cenat had a riot in New York City. We'll talk about the details of that, I guess. But here, joining me today to talk about these topics, I was going to say Real Honey Money because that's your tag, but it's just Honey Money, right? It's Honey Money is joining us today at Real Honey Money. Also joined by Marty Sleva. Dang. Sad. And Yokina Cat. Welcome. Get out of here. Get out of here. Hold on. They probably did. Man, the way OBS, it's fine. We can do introductions all over again. I don't give a shit. Hold on. All right. So they should be able to hear you guys now. Sorry about that. And on that note, we are just going to start over again. So joining me this week is Honey Money.
Hello.
Also, Marty Sleva.
Welcome.
And Yokina Cat.
Hey, y'all.
All right, there we go. Everyone is here. You can hear them, I hope. But we'll just jump right into things. How's everybody been doing? What you've been playing, listening to, all that jazz. This will be the bulk of our conversation, so feel free to go into all the nitty gritty to your heart's content, like, because there's really just this riot story afterwards.
I'm gonna learn a lot though, so I'm very excited about the riot story. Because I'm gonna be honest, I understand very little of it, and I want to come away with a firm grasp of what happened.
True. All right.
And talking points and action points. Casey, I can't remember if we talked about this. Have you watched They Clone Tyrone?
I did. Yes, I did.
Has anyone else watched or heard of?
Yes, I have.
Not yet.
What did you guys think? Because I thought it was delightful.
I really liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
I thought it was like, I'm gonna get you, sucker, get out, mixed with Shaft at the same time. Like, it was like this really cool, like 70s feel,
very
and modern
blaxploitation. And what's weird is that, like, it was hard to tell what time period they were in.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's
because like, if you notice, it was like 70s style, but then when you like, there's one scene. No, this isn't a spoiler, but like, there's one scene where they're in her bedroom and you see like Beyonce posters on the wall,
right?
And they reference like, we'll get into it, but like, there's like little things you could tell, like, oh, it must be.
They were talking about
now.
blockchain at one point.
Yeah. She's talking about getting into blockchain.
Okay.
Yeah, and their cell phones, but they're flip phones. It's a. It's like an interesting genre mashing out of time. It reminded me of stuff like It Follows or Brick or even like Sorry to Bother You, in that it takes sort of this interesting sci-fi concept and then mashes it together with like Kat said, like a 70s blaxploitation movie. I thought it was great, and also it's one of those things where all three of these actors at the main character, so it's Jamie Foxx, John Boyega, and Teyonah Parris.
Yes.
All three of them have gotten sometimes straddled with big IP. Like John Boyega with Star Wars, Jamie Foxx with the Spider-Man movies, and then Teyonah Parris is in
the Marvels.
The Marvels, WandaVision and stuff like that. And then you see them here, and you're like, oh my god, all three of you are so fucking good. Like, you're really good actors.
We already knew that about Jamie Foxx, though, right?
Yeah, and like John Boyega was really good in Attack the Block, but it's one of those like, man, those big IPs really do a disservice to like how good you are at what you do.
Your job,
Yeah, I kind of really felt that way specifically about John Boyega.
Like,
This is a me thing. Like, I don't have an issue with it, but there's this sort of thing where like Hollywood will get British well, I guess it's an American thing in general. Like, but Hollywood will get British actors to play Americans, and so when it's like black British actors and they play like hood Americans, it feels a little bit like masquerading as something that they're not, because like it's a very different culture. But then you get people like Idris
Daniel
Elba
Kaluuya.
and
Yeah.
Daniel Kaluuya and now John Boyega, who are really really good at it. Like it's like, okay,
Yeah.
they've seen so much of like these other things that feature this sort of black American, and so like they come and they just do that, and it's like, wow, you really nailed that. But also it feels a little it's uncanny, I guess. It's like you look at yourself in the mirror a little bit, and
Yeah.
like it's like I don't know, like it just makes me feel a little weird. Like I won't say that, you know, I'm against it, because like they do a fantastic job of portraying that character, but it's also like seeing someone mock you in a way.
Did you have the same feeling when you watched Atlanta, or because the three of them were
Yeah, like
American?
I did not. Yeah, like those guys
Yeah.
are Americans. I feel like it was a more. It felt more like that was just them, as opposed to them pretending to
Playing.
be me or someone
Yeah.
like me.
Mm.
It's funny, after I did a little research on the movie, and speaking of Atlanta, apparently Brian Tyree Henry was originally going to play the Boyega role, and then a scheduling thing made him had to drop
I
out.
literally said that to my fiance when I was
Yeah.
talking to her about this thing. I was like, "Yo, like Brian Tyree Henry probably would have been really good for this if we wanted an American, but like
Yeah.
we have John Boyega now."
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those. I think a lot of people sort of either overlooked it or didn't know about it because it just went straight to Netflix. Like maybe it played in some theaters, but it didn't play in any theaters around me. So, yeah, and I don't know. I'm a fan of just like easy or like clever, low budget genre stuff. And this just, especially like I really like the first half of this. Like second half, I still enjoyed. I thought it went a little bit off the rails, but yeah, definitely worth a watch.
May I ask, and I'm curious to know, Marty, may I ask
Yeah.
why you think it went off the rails the second half of the movie? Like, what about the movie for you? Like, yeah, like
Mhm.
it's kind of like unraveling or falling apart.
I think maybe off the rails was the wrong expression, but I felt more engrossed when I didn't have the answers to any of the questions. I liked being as confused as the characters were, and like when they go into that the trap house, and then they find like an elevator into the basement, you're like, what's going on here? Like, what is this? And so I think I'm usually a fan, like as someone who just fucking loved Lost and Twin Peaks and stuff like that, I usually find the mystery more compelling than whatever the answer to the mystery is.
Yeah,
Like a lot of times you
without
can't really
spoiling anything. Like they do lay out every answer. Like they literally like sit a character down and like just spell out, and they do this twice almost. Like there's one confrontation where like a middleman spells a bunch of it out, and then there's a final confrontation where like the main person spells the rest of it out, and it's like it's kind of an info dump. So I kind of get that.
Yeah.
For me, I guess considering the subject matter, I kind of feel like if they did it any other way, people would probably have. I don't think people would have been as receptive to the film, if I'm making any sense, given the subject matter. Like, I think people wanted, like, who's at the bottom of all of this? Like, you know, who is the, you know what I mean? And even then, so that person was not the end all to be all. He was not the top dog kind of person, you know?
right,
So
There's even a line that says everyone has a boss. They're like, oh, are you the
Yeah.
boss? And he's like, oh, everyone has a boss. Yeah.
I just feel like it was a bit overshadowed by the whole Jamie Foxx thing, because that was what people talked about a lot. It was
Yeah.
ridiculous.
when he got sick.
Yeah.
The timing of it was just weird because obviously this movie was filmed probably 2 years ago or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which apparently he's fine or getting better, so that's good.
Yeah.
He's in some other hot water, but you know.
Yeah,
Is he?
some
Oh,
anti-Semitism
no.
Yeah.
He
Oh, no.
apologized, blah, blah, blah.
Also,
you know.
I think it was I read about this.
I think it was taken out of context.
That's what
I'm
I
sorry,
think.
From I don't know if Sigma will agree, but from like
I've not heard
the
this story,
black,
so I'll
the
need
black-
you guys to
okay.
explain what this new controversy is with Jamie Foxx.
So Jamie Foxx posted something on his Instagram that said they killed a man named Jesus. What do you think they're gonna do to you? # no fake friends or something like that, right? So obviously we know what no fake. You know when you. I don't know if anyone's. You know, even from an interest perspective, the Bible. When I read that, no fake friends, they killed Jesus. Judas is the person that betrayed Jesus. And we're like, do you know this man? He's like, no.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I thought he must have it. Like, there must be someone in his circle that he just, doesn't trust anymore. But a lot of people took that as
Jews.
Like he's being anti-Semitic. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So like it was just
okay.
like,
that's projection.
And then there was a big thing about like Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston, she liked it, and then she backtracked and was like, "Oh, I would never
condone anything anti-Semitic." And my whole time I'm like, I think y'all are like really overreaching here.
That's very.
They are.
To me, it was really clearly
they're
like
not at all what
someone close to him in his life like fucked him over.
And I think for me, the hashtag no fake friends, that's what explained it to me. Like, oh, like they killed Jesus. Judas is the friend that betrayed Jesus. Like when they asked, like, is this the Romans? Were like, who's this? So yeah, it's just one thing after another, man. I couldn't be a celebrity. I couldn't be a celebrity. I couldn't do it.
He apologized, but it's like he shouldn't have to.
Exactly. I agree.
This is a similar thing, and I don't know, I might get flack for this as well, but Beyonce had to apologize to like the disabled community.
Yeah, for a lyric she had in one of her songs.
Word spaz in her lyrics. And spaz in the Black community has never meant anything to do with like disability. Like it's never been used as a pejorative towards another person. Spaz just means to wild out, to go like wild, right?
Yeah.
That's all it's ever meant. So like it's weird that people outside of that culture take the thing that means another thing and says, no, it means this, apologize to me for using it. Like, I feel like that's not okay. And like, there's just a lot of that happens on the internet. Like, this is an example. Like, Jamie Foxx, meaning one thing very clearly to some, but not clearly to others because they're projecting their own meaning onto it. And then him having to apologize to them. Like, he wasn't talking to you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Social media was a mistake. Just right. He should have wrote out that Instagram post and put it in a bottle and threw it into the ocean.
I mean, the fact that we now
what you're writing, then
but the fact that we now say, oh, the platform formerly known as Twitter, that's a thing people are saying about X now. I think yes, social media was a fucking mistake. Come on.
I'm not gonna call it X.
No, Elon Musk.
It's not Prince.
Elon Musk getting access to social media was a mistake.
Oh God.
That was the icing on top of the mistake cake.
Yeah.
Wraithbow with a good point. If they don't want to talk to everyone, maybe don't post to the entire planet.
Also true.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard to argue against that because, this is for anyone to see. So, anyone is going to interpret it the way they interpret it.
And
they're also just people. They're also just humans.
That's true.
For me, it's just kind of like if you post something on social media, you're automatically opening up whatever it is. You're opening up yourself to the court of public opinion, and it doesn't matter. Like people are gonna just, if they think that way, they're just gonna think that way. And sometimes there's no changing people's minds or perspectives. So just be mindful. Like obviously we're interpreting it in one way. Someone else might interpret it another way. So at that point, it's really just being mindful or being like, should I post this or not? Like kind of thing. So no, I agree.
Like even if you're not like a worldwide known celebrity, like the mental effort it takes to try and be full on politically correct anytime you post anything on the internet is exhausting.
It is.
Also, it's a fake you then.
Yes.
Because it has to be.
Yes. Yeah. So and I don't know if anyone else has seen this, but I don't listen to this rapper's music, but he kind of ends up in my algorithm a lot because of other things that I like. Mm-hmm. So that rapper, his name is G Herbo. Like he got arrested. Yeah. So he got arrested. He's pretty, I guess, popular. But he got arrested and he was indicted on like fraud, like wire fraud and identity theft. And it's really funny because it's like basically what he was doing is he was taking people's real names, their real social security numbers, opening up real credit cards and their names. And he was part of like, it wasn't just him, it was like a group of people. Like a group of people, yeah. Mm. And they were like renting cars, buying like really expensive dogs. And the reason why I know this is even though it was posted on social media, I actually went up and looked up his indictment because it was a public record. Mm-hmm. So I went up and looked up the actual court record. And he was buying like these lavish vacation trips, like in the Bahamas, Cancun. He bought like this really expensive dog. and we're talking like upwards of like $100 and something thousand that he opened. So I just think it's really, when she was talking about how it's people are projecting, like they're fake, like people are really fake. And I think I don't know, I froze, my thing froze,
Yeah.
but going.
Hold on.
Oh no, Jay Herbo's coming. Your identity.
So like, let me turn my camera off and see if it'll.
Yeah, luckily we can still hear you.
Yeah.
Let's see if that. Oh
Yeah, it was weird because it visually glitched out a little bit and then it just froze.
Yeah,
right.
and then it just froze.
That's really weird. Okay, so decided not to. There we go.
Oh,
It was really weird. Okay, so going back to what Honey Money was saying about how that's the fake that's the fake them. I completely agree, because people, I think, only post what they want people to see on social media. So like, he's always posting these cars and these chains and buying his girlfriend all these things. It's like, that's not
as a
even
rapper,
his.
it's an image that he needs to.
Yes, it's an image.
Yeah.
So it's just, I think people just invest too much into social media.
Well, for some, it's part of the job. Like Jamie Foxx is a celebrity, Beyonce celebrity. Like, they're not gonna make things and then not engage with the world who they want.
No,
to see
and
those
I
things.
agree with that. But as far as like, you know, as far as just posting things that aren't true about yourself, there's a difference between promoting your business or promoting something because that's just part of your life, and then just projecting, like, it's the keeping up with the Joneses, fake it till you make it facade kind of thing. So going back to what Honey Money says, it's like, I just don't believe half the stuff I see on social media, because he's over here projecting like, I got it out of the mud, XYZ, but you're taking out credit cards and, you know, 60-year-old people's names and running it up. So it's kind of like, you know,
that's just like literal crimes. Yeah.
I just think people need to look at all these celebrities when they post something that's like, oh my God, what did they say? It's like, okay, we don't know this person. We don't know them at all. We're just okay, in their history, in their like background, have they been problematic? No? Okay, maybe ask them instead of going like, what the fuck's wrong with you? And like starting a thing. Because it's the same, like Doja Cat has a thing going on and people are like, oh God, that's the whole thing. It's like, and some people were like, we hope you're doing okay because you're obviously going through something. So that's the whole thing.
She is definitely going through something.
Yes.
I've heard some Doja Cat.
And I hate it. I'll have to say it. I'm sorry. Like I've never really been a fan of Doja Cat, but I'm sorry. That new song is a bop. I'm sorry. Paint the town red. I'm sorry. That's a bop. It really is. Like,
I mean,
it really is.
The artist from the art. Like, this is a conversation that we keep coming back to.
Yeah.
And we've gotten into that several times on your podcast, Sigma. So it's like, it's hard for me to, for me, it's very hard for me to separate the artist from their personal. For me, it's hard. Like, it's hard for me to do that. And maybe that's just a personal bias that I have. Because obviously no one's perfect. Everyone has flaws. Like, I get it. But it's a bop.
It's easier to jump ship on someone if they're like creatively
kind of,
going downward. Like, honestly, that was me with Kanye, where like I didn't like his last couple albums. And so when it happened, I was like, this is a fucking bummer.
But at least I don't have to justify me continuing to listen. Like, right? Like, I never liked R. Kelly, ever. I've always hated that man's music. So it was super easy for me to believe that he was just a shitty person.
I never sat down and I couldn't name a single R. Kelly album aside from like Trapped in the Closet, which I don't know if that was an album. But like individual songs, if they'd come on when I was out, it's some pretty good individual songs. He remixed Ignition. I don't even know what that
Ignition
meant. Was there an original
thing I've heard from him? But that doesn't sound like most R. Kelly.
Sure,
right? Like that was kind of like his just that stock 90s R&B sound. I cannot stand. Like him and Mary J. Blige, I cannot stand.
When it comes to R. Kelly, I remember hearing about the whole thing with him and Aaliyah and the video and all that other stuff. I remember hearing about that when I was a kid, like probably at middle school, elementary school, junior high. And I remember being like, that's weird, that's creepy. And I've never liked his music. And people were telling me, oh, you're tripping. I was like, no, I think his music just sounds weird to me. I don't mean to get too vulgar on your podcast, so please excuse me, Sigma. But I could not have sex to R. Kelly. Like, I just can't. I like
what the Space Jam song?
Like,
Please excuse me. I apologize if that's too vulgar, but,
No,
but being intimate with someone to R. Kelly, it's creepy to me. Like that's super creepy. But I've always thought that. So when all this stuff happening, and I was
heart, you
it was just
knew.
It was just weird.
Sense.
It was just weird to me. Like I don't know, his voice is not attractive to me. Like that's not something that I would want to, woohoo to in Sims terms. So like, like it's just nuts. So
I was thinking WooHoo of like the island from Wii Sports Resort. It's called WooHoo Island. now I can't think of that game. There's like a Mario Kart track on WooHoo Island.
Yes.
No one else plays Sims. Okay. Yeah, like it's hard for me to it's hard for me to separate. So R. Kelly, I'm right there with you, Sigma. Like when all this stuff came out, I was just kind of
like fuck him, right?
Yeah,
Fuck
okay.
him.
Like I don't know you from a can of paint, but from what I do know, like I've never been a fan of his art. So when stuff happened to him, I was like, okay, that's not my problem.
I don't know. There's a lot of things happening now. The whole Lizzo thing. Like, what's up
Oh
with that?
man,
Jesus.
yeah.
What is up with that? My lord. I'm like, okay, so Lizzo's getting canceled. Just waiting for it. Because Beyonce already took out some lyrics that like reference her in a song or something in like something she did, like a performance.
Hey, honey money. God might work fast, but Beyonce stuff works faster.
I'm
telling you right now.
Cut that shit. Oh my god.
Tangentially related, who do you think is like huge celebrity? So maybe actor, musician. Do you think is the best at just completely fucking staying out of the limelight? Like
Keanu
who
Reeves.
is okay? Like we know very little about his personal life, like that kind of thing.
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, he said Keanu.
Oh yeah, Keanu Reeves.
Oh yeah.
I think Keanu Reeves, also Denzel Washington. You don't ever hear anything about that man.
That's true.
Yeah.
His son too, like John David Washington. I don't know anything about
John
other
David
than like
yeah.
Cool and Tenet. I don't know.
Like
did
he's
a bunch of backward shit.
And he's pretty private. Like I've watched interviews of like John David Washington and stuff. Like, and he's like super private on his Instagram page too. He doesn't really ever really post things about his dad, but more so about like his mom. And I don't know if that's maybe he just. And I could completely understand, like being the son of one of the most world-renowned actors. Like I could understand wanting to not always have to revert back to like I wouldn't want to reference my dad all the time too. Like I'm a grown man, or in my case, I'm a grown woman. So like I wouldn't always want to.
No,
like people already know.
I've heard him in interviews specifically say that he doesn't want to be like in his dad's shadow. Like he kind of wants to carve a path out for himself. But like that's impossible, dude. Like your dad is Denzel Washington, and you're an actor.
And like not only is the idea of like the Nepo baby real, but you are the son of one of the all-time greats. Like literally one of the like the top of the pantheon.
But you can't blame him for being that way. Like
no, sure.
No.
Like you can't blame him.
I still think it's a bit delusional to think that he could do that.
No.
Like to be like, all right, well, I'm gonna carve my own lane and get a name for myself in acting without my father's help. Or without relying on my father's name. Like, no, you're there because of your father, point blank, period. You didn't audition as an unknown. I'm positive of that.
Because he played
True.
football. From my understanding, he went to college, he played football at Morehouse, and then he went on to play he was like an athlete before he became an actor. And I think and I'm not sure, but I think like the first thing that I remember seeing him in, I think was Entourage. I think was like the first thing that he was in. And then when Black Klansman came out, I didn't even know. Because when I saw him in Entourage, I didn't know that was Denzel Washington's son. And then I heard him, I was like, he sounds really familiar. He looks like his mom, sounds like his dad. Like, for sure. So I think they're a pretty private family, I think. As far as staying out of the limelight or, not really. But that's just me. And I'm just a really big Denzel Washington fan. So I'm kind of biased.
I mean, he's great.
Yes.
He's great. Oh, one person we don't need to hear from more is one of Tom Hanks' son.
Chet.
I can't remember name.
Oh God, please.
My lord, that man needs to just stop talking.
Because Tom Hanks is in that camp of unproblematic, but his son has become an issue.
Yeah, his son.
Oh yeah.
I would love to be a fly on the wall for those conversations. Like, just these kids, their parents are, their parents have never been in anything, have never been in any scandal. They just do their job as actors or media personalities, and their kids are just out here wilding out. I would love to be like a fly on the wall to hear those conversations.
Also, one of the sons is like totally normal. Colin Hanks is just like a normal actor, director, like totally normal dude. Then Chet Hanks is out here just.
And I think the other son was in a movie recently as well. Like the youngest one was in a movie recently as well.
He out here trying to be Jamaican and speak patois. Like, bro, like, no, like, come on, bro. Like,
yeah, he is problematic.
Instagram videos.
He's extremely problematic. Like,
yeah.
He reminds me of what was it? What's that one with? What's that guy? Jamie Kennedy, I think was his name. And he did that one movie.
Malibu's Most Wanted.
Yes, Malibu's Most Wanted. That's what he reminds me of. Like,
I don't think I've seen that.
All right. Maybe I'm showing my age. I don't know.
I know. Malibu's Most Wanted is a cult classic. I think
it's a biopic on Chet Hanks.
Also, apparently Jackie Chan's son is.
He's
had some issues.
And I've heard people.
I've heard that.
I never thought I'd see the day where people were coming for Jackie Chan online, but they were.
Yeah,
they were coming.
His, estranged daughter and.
Yeah, he had an affair. Yeah. He had an affair, and then he had a daughter from it, and then she actually came out as gay, and then apparently he like disowned her because of it. But then people are going back and forth.
I think like, that they were like
no,
linking two things that were completely unrelated.
I mean,
he was estranged from her long before she ever like came out.
And then like the whole thing about how he's now he's an advocate for like the People's Republic of China, and obviously people have differing opinions about that because of their government. So like people are just kind of coming for Jackie Chan, which for me I was like, no, like he's one of my favorite actors ever. So it's kind of hard to, kind of going back to what Honey Money said and what y'all said is just. You gotta, I guess, take it and decide for yourself whether or not you're going to continue to support someone or not based off of what other people are saying online. Because at the end of the day, like we don't know these people like at all.
Yeah, that's where I keep coming back to. It's like, sure, that's disappointing to hear, but like I don't know that man. Like this is none of my business, in all honesty. So you can kind of just keep on continuing with your life, and like the information, but you don't really need to weigh in on it or do anything about it. And this, since we're on this rabbit hole already. Sorry. Kevin Spacey was recently acquitted of all of his sexual assault charges.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So like, what does the internet do with information like that? Because it's been years and years and years of him essentially being ousted.
He's already been canceled. Yeah.
So like, it doesn't necessarily mean that nothing happened, but like in the legal sense, he is innocent of everything that he's accused of.
Like the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what happens? Like the jobs that he lost out on, like money he could have made. I don't have an answer to this. I'm just putting that question out there. Like, the internet is so quick to go, this person is X from our list. Whether that means anything or not is debatable. But like for someone like Kevin Spacey, like he lost a lot of work. Yeah. After all these years, it's like, all right, well, you're fine now. You're actually innocent of the stuff you've been accused of. It's like, all right, well.
At the end of the day, though, he may be found not guilty in the court of law, but he's not found guilty in the court of public opinion. So it doesn't matter whether or not he was legally found not guilty. It's just that stigma is going to probably carry with him for the rest of his life. Like people already probably have it made up in their minds that he did whatever he did. You
saw a lot of that. A lot of people saying like, oh, well, that doesn't change anything. Like what the fact that he was legally found not guilty doesn't change anything.
So for
there's
me,
still something.
I feel like he's going to start showing up.
He's guilty of that weird video he posted on Christmas.
But I think also people pick and choose who they cancel and who they don't. Like, I think kind of going back to the whole Tory Lanez and Meg Thee Stallion like debacle, like people were just like, I guess for me, I was just, when people were going back and forth like on the Shade Room and all these other places, and I had put a comment. I had something to the effect of, I said, we don't know what was going on in the courtroom. We don't know what type of evidence or discovery was provided to defense counsel, what was given to the prosecutors, what they discussed behind closed doors. We don't know. We weren't in the jury room with the jurors when they were debating or deliberating. We don't know these things. So only those people truly know what happened, and only they truly know, what their decision was. And based off of what was presented in court and based off of what the jurors did, they found the dude guilty. Now we can sit here and say, oh, they didn't do it. Y'all are going off of stuff that was posted on Twitter, posted on Instagram. We don't know everything. So I think it's kind of, I think the court of public opinion is a very dangerous dangerous place.
Oh
'cause
yeah,
it can
it's
be
successful.
it can be extremely helpful, or it can be extremely, extremely detrimental to someone. Like the Carly, what was her name? Carly,
Oh shoot, I know exactly what you're talking about.
the girl that
Yeah.
basically
The
called 911.
the
She basically
doctor
faked
who
her whole.
fake disappeared. Yes.
She faked her whole. She faked her whole.
Carly Rae
disappearance, right?
Jepsen?
No.
She fake disappeared. I don't know who Carly is. Hi,
I'm
Carly.
blanking on her name right now. Hold on.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Carly
she's
Robinson
like
or Carly Thompson or something like that.
she saw
Carly Russell.
was that the lady who
Russell.
saw a toddler walk down? Oh, she said she saw a
Yes, so
toddler.
there was
So-
a woman. She.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead,
Explain,
Sigma, I'm
please.
sorry.
No, explain for anyone who doesn't know
okay.
what this story is.
Okay, so Carly Russell was a young woman. She called 911 saying that she saw a baby on the side of the road. So when she was going to the baby, during the phone call, you hear like a little bit of Russell confrontation, and then she screams, and the call goes dead, and she goes missing. So people launched this nationwide hunt. The FBI got involved.
Yeah.
Celebrities are posting about it. 3 days later, she shows up to her parents' house. Right there, that tells me that thing right there already told me something doesn't sound right here. Leading up to that, like I don't think that anyone should go. I think what people did was the right thing they should have done. They should have looked for her, because you don't know the facts during, right?
Yeah.
Like we didn't know anything. So better safe than sorry. What everyone did, I thought was correct. Everyone should have been looking for her. So now it's coming to light. She faked her own kidnapping.
Yeah.
She looked up, like the day before her kidnapping, she looked up stuff like, if an Amber Alert gets called out, do I have to pay for it? Like dumb.
She got me no window that.
She had Googled the movie Taken.
It's
Yes,
honestly
it was
very funny. Like
crazy.
the cops did a rundown of all the stuff they
crazy.
found in the investigation. It was pretty funny. What
It was so like, it was just crazy. And a lot of people were upset with her because it's like, this kind of puts and everyone can see this when it usually comes to people missing or things like that. People of color or black women, black men.
women in particular.
Black women in
get
particular, they don't get as much
effort put into like the search.
media, the search. So everyone was a little upset because they felt like it was a deterrence from that. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I don't care the fact that she lied. If someone goes missing, I feel like those things should be given the same effort until you get down to the truth, like they did with this one. If that's making any sense, like
No, absolutely.
during this whole thing, no one knew who she was. They did what they were supposed to, but now that it's coming out that she did what she did, she definitely should be held accountable for it.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think they are like filing false report charges against her.
And if they wanted to, they could charge her federally too if they wanted to. But
Do you know where that was? Like what state it was?
Alabama.
I feel
Also,
bad for her ex-boyfriend
Yeah, because the thing is, everyone is
all the
speculating
time.
that the whole reason she planned this disappearing
was
act
to get back with the other with
was to
another
basically have
ex-boyfriend.
like a whole weekend, right?
Speaking
There's easier
But no
ways
one
to
knows
do that,
because
isn't there?
she hasn't admitted that that's what happened. Like
No.
she said, like I'm sorry I lied. Like she admitted that she lied, but she has not said where the hell she was. So
there's some hot water. He's in some hot water now too. So
The boyfriend
apparently,
is?
apparently he was getting paid for a club appearance, and it was him trying to find love again.
I saw that flyer.
Did you see the flyer? Did you see the
God.
flyer? Did you see the
Wait,
flyer?
while she was missing?
No,
He
this
was
was
already
after.
like,
This is after. This is after when everything came to light, right? The name of the flyer, it had his picture, and it says "Looking for Love" XYZ, and the flyer was search and rescue.
No. Oh,
gotta
come
strike while the
on.
iron's hot.
Yeah, so
Oh, God.
they pull the club or whatever, like pulls it was called search and rescue. So the club pulls the thing, and then he's like, yeah, this was important. Like, no shit, Sherlock, excuse my language. He was like, no shit, Sherlock. Like, that's pretty bad taste. Like, and the timing is just absolutely horrible.
I thought it was a joke at first.
Do they not have like this will even come up in our the main topic later, but is there not just someone in the room who will look at this and be like, might not be a good idea? Like one person to be like, should we do this?
What's that mean? You sure about that?
You sure about that?
You sure about that? Like, let's be real
look,
for a second.
they got the word out about that party, so job done.
Yeah.
Hey,
That's
I don't
the
know
thing.
about any other regional parties in
to
Alabama.
what a way to look at it, Sigma.
They did what they were paid for.
No publicity is bad publicity.
Wipe
Except
their
that
hands of the whole
publicity.
situation after that. But yeah, so we went off on a big
Yeah, they cloned Tyrone. Great movie.
Yeah.
I recommend
Watching anything else?
That was we covered one thing.
I started watching. I'm probably gonna get a lot of flack for this, but I finally started watching Jujutsu Kaisen.
Why would you get flack? What's happening?
Oh, because I've started so late. Like I started late.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like I don't. That's not like a classic or anything.
No.
So I started Jujutsu Kaisen. I actually caught up finally. I'm gonna probably get flack to my friends are watching this because when I went to DreamCon I want to talk about that later. But when I went to DreamCon last weekend, we were at the Airbnb. So when we were chilling and stuff, my friends were like, "Let's start Jujutsu Kaisen." I'm like, "Okay," and then I started it when I got home. So
so you don't want to watch it with us, but you want to watch it with
So I did that. I caught up on Attack on Titan, and the way I look
to the end now.
Right, it's like part 7 of 11.
Final season, last chapter, part 3.
Yeah.
So
wait 6 months.
I am my thoughts on Eren are the same as my thoughts on Thanos. I don't care. He was wrong. That's just my view of it. I put Thanos and Eren in the same category. So
I think Aaron still got. I think there's got to be. I didn't read the manga. I don't want anyone doing manga spoilers for me. I think there's still got to be some twist. I feel like Aaron's still playing the long game, and that somehow he's going to be everything he's doing is right, even though it seems like
what a way to be positive, Marty. But I don't. I
bitched it all, and I was like, "There's no way this dude."
Poor stupid baby.
You poor soul. So I caught up on that. I am starting to rewatch, and I know it's just me, but I started from episode 1 of Yu Yu Hakusho because that's just my comfort anime.
No, I feel that.
And Yu Yu Hakusho is my comfort anime, so I started that. So I have not really had a lot of time to watch a lot of stuff. So I don't want to. I'm sorry, I don't want to go on.
What is Yu Yu Hakusho? Because one of my favorite anime YouTubers, who I had this revelation. So one of my favorite anime YouTubers is this guy. His name's Jeff Thew. He goes by the name Mother's Basement.
Yeah, I love that guy's channel. Yeah.
How tall do you think he is?
Oh, I have no idea.
He is 6'6".
Good God!
Shit,
fucked me up when I found that out, and I don't
He's
know why.
Taller than Yahtzee.
That's so tall.
That's basketball height.
He's always so small in the videos on my TV.
I'm 5'11", so I guess for me, 6'6" is tall, but for me, I'm 5'11", so.
I mean, I'm 5'2". Everything's
just
tall.
Used to, if you like anime, you're smaller than me.
I guess I'm thinking. Hey, honey, money. I guess I'm thinking about it from a woman's perspective. But I mean, 6'6"
is so tall.
6'6" is a pretty nice height. Anyways, I digress.
It's all the way up there.
You're saying that like that's normal. 6'6" is not a normal person height.
No.
It's not, but it's not. You're right.
Like that's tall as shit.
It's not a normal height. It's not. Yu Yu Hakusho, Marty, is about a young boy named Yusuke Urameshi, and the first, it's gonna be a little bit of a spoiler for you. He's basically a spirit. Okay, in the first episode, he saves a little boy from getting killed, getting hit by a car, and he ends up dying. The Grim Reaper basically tells him, "Hey, like you actually weren't supposed to die. If you had just let it happen, he probably would have just left with like a scratch."
Oh.
So basically, it's just that's how it all begins. But essentially,
fuck them kids. Then don't say
he becomes something called a spirit detective, and he is the keeper of keeping demon world and spirit world and our world like at peace. That's like his job.
Okay, that's cool.
At first, it ends up being like he doesn't really have a choice if he wants his life back, but then it's actually really, really good. I'm just giving you like a basic synopsis.
So does he live in the real world? Does he live in the spirit world? Does he
lives in the world?
Both of them?
He oscillates between both.
Yeah.
So it's actually really, really good. I think it's a really short anime. It's not very long.
Nice.
But it's about 99 episodes, so it's not a terribly long anime. So
if I could, I just want to add one detail is that Yusuke is a delinquent. Like that's kind of a big deal. And like,
he's
that's
like 14. Yeah,
he's like a high school, middle school like delinquent, and like that's why it was like you weren't supposed to jump in front of this kid because it's out of character for him.
Like you definitely were not supposed to do this. Yeah.
So, but like the fact that he's like this delinquent and then gets all this responsibility for keeping the worlds apart is this funny ass dichotomy between him kind of upholding what they want but in the most reckless way possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he gets
Like,
paired with like his arch enemy, like in junior
Yeah, like
high.
his school rival. Yeah.
His school rival, they get paired together because his school rival actually is extremely spiritually aware, like of all worlds. It's actually pretty interesting. So I was just giving you like Sigma did a much better way of explaining that to you.
No, I just
No,
like,
but
because I feel like that's one of the things that makes that show so endearing is that like it's kind of a fish out of water scenario, not just because he's died and in the afterworld, but because he's a jerk. Like he's an asshole. He talks so much trash.
I love that.
Like it's so entertaining, that show.
Yeah, that's one of those shows that like I think I've talked about this before. I was super big into anime in like the late 90s, early aughts, and that's when I got into like Dragon Ball Z and Gundam and Cowboy Bebop and Evangelion, and then somehow I just didn't watch anime for 20 years. And then during the pandemic I came back hard, but that's how I completely missed like Naruto and Bleach and One Piece and all that shit. That was all in that 20-year span, and I feel like Yu Yu Hakusho was like right when I stopped. And so I'm trying to catch up on that, but then there's also a million new things.
I think you would really like it, Marty. I think you would really like it. And for me,
it holds up.
For me, when people ask me, like, what are animes that I should start watching with, I will never recommend Dragon Ball Z as the first anime they should watch. I'm sorry. Like,
no, I think you're right to do that. Honestly.
I will never, like,
I haven't seen it.
People think...
You haven't seen Dragon Ball Z?
No, not for me.
Save your peace of mind, honey money.
If you're going to do anything in that world, start with Dragon Ball. Like, that actually has, like, a good story.
I agree.
You can follow, and like the characters become endearing to you, and then you can go to Z if you like want to keep seeing them. Like, at that point, you're familiar with them.
Is Dragon Ball Z just people going there everywhere, people flying around? Because I'm just like, I get it. I don't need to watch all of it. Like, it's fine. I get what it is.
I saw someone post because apparently this week's One Piece either manga or episode or something was like fucking crazy. People were losing their minds over it.
It's like a big turning point for the character. It happened in the manga several months ago, but like it just got animated.
Okay, and so people were saying, what if Dragon Ball Z was airing now, and like we were on the precipice of Goku going Super Saiyan for the first time? Like the internet would have lost its fucking mind. Like if everyone was collectively watching Goku go Super Saiyan on Namek.
And I think for me, people, Sigmund sees it all the time on social media and in the Discord, but like people think I just give Dragon Ball Z I'm just a Dragon Ball Z hater, and I'm really not.
Dragon Ball Z and R. Kelly, the two things you're a hater on.
Troll Dragon Ball Z fans.
I do, but going forward, like I don't do stuff like that unless I know what I'm talking about. So like obviously I've read the manga and I've watched the anime. So have I kept up with it? No. Dragon Ball Super, I have not watched that.
Yeah, I haven't caught up with that either.
I have not watched Dragon Ball Super, but for me, it's just kind of like it's not. Is it a very influential anime? Absolutely. That there is no refuting that, like whatsoever. It's probably one of the most influential animes of all time. Is it the best one? In my opinion, no, it's not. That's just my personal opinion. So, Honey Money, you're really not missing anything. I agree with Sigma.
Thanks.
I would start with Dragon Ball first if you want to get into that whole universe of Dragon Ball Z.
If you want to know what it's about, Dragon Ball is a good way to do that because you'll learn who all the characters are and you'll actually enjoy the story that they tell for the most part.
There's the episode where they have to get their license.
What?
There's an episode where they have to go get their driving license.
That's in Dragon Ball Z, and that's filler.
Yeah, it's great. Just watch that episode. Just buff dudes trying to get their driver's license.
I don't want to like completely dump on Dragon Ball Z because like there's fun stuff in there, but like it is through rose tinted glasses. Like, it was. It's like a thing you grew up with, and like it was like your first experience of that sort of animation. And
it was like it's 1998, and I'm in middle school, and this rules.
Yes, and you're fine.
I actively skipped it,
and it's okay. Yeah. I think for me, my disdain for Dragon Ball Z is not necessarily the anime itself and the manga; it's the fans.
That happens.
I think for me, being, and I'm not, now it's just I think it's so awesome that women can just be nerds and gamers and do all these things.
Yeah.
And growing up as a girl, like a little kid, like it was like a stigma or like it was weird for girls to like stuff like this. Like I'm just being honest. Like it was just really weird for us to like stuff like this. Yeah. So a lot of times there's guys even now, kids, did you know this or did you know this when they've seen 2 random episodes of Dragon Ball Z from Toonami back in like 2007. Like, okay, that's cool. There's more to anime outside of Shonen and Shogun. Like there's so much more outside of those types of anime. So I guess my disdain for Dragon Ball is definitely the fans because they play
sense.
Call of Duty. They play Call of Duty and watch 2 things of Dragon Ball Z, and then all of a
now
sudden they
they're
know
experts
everything.
in-
Dragon Ball and Call of Duty fans? Is there like an overlap?
Yes, there is.
Probably. Yeah.
I mean, it's the same people in those voice chats that
There we
hear
go,
a
there we
lady
go.
just going, "It's a girl." It's like, yes, we exist. We play games. Fuck off. Grow up.
I think
Lam-
all
Lampy's
fans are
asking,
bad. Fans of everything are bad.
Yeah, Lampy's asking, what's worse, DBZ fans or Star Wars fans?
Fans of everything. Anything. Once you're a fan of something too much, you're
Yeah,
bad.
if you're super fan,
bad.
yeah. You're bad.
Lampy,
That
yes,
is
Yu Yu
true.
Hakusho is a shonen, but what I'm saying is that there's so much more outside of that. Like
Yeah.
there's so many
Does
different types
Shonen
of
just
anime.
mean you were in Shonen Jump? Is that just like...
I think
It's the type of-
originally,
It's an aid group.
yeah, it's like yeah,
Naruto.
Shonen Jump is just referring
Shonen,
to the fact that it
seinen,
appeals to that age group.
shoujo, and so on.
Oh,
It's a whole-
Shonen
it's whole-
means it's anime for kids?
Young, well, it's young boy.
Young
kind
adult
of.
anime?
Seinen is an older male, not adult necessarily, but like.
Oh, I thought
older.
Shonen was all about tournaments.
It's just that's a popular framing device for that age group,
Okay.
right? It's like
So like Naruto, Shonen, Hunter x Hunter, I believe is Shonen.
Is My Hero Academia?
I mean, you use the Kai Cenat, Attack on Titan, also shonen.
Wait, Attack on
as far as I
Titan gets
know.
gory, though. That gets
Yeah,
kinda
but I think it
intense,
still
right?
counts.
yeah,
Maybe it's
I
seinen.
don't know if the gore level or even sex sexual content
just the
disqualifies it from being
demographic.
aged as the
If we're
shonen
going by
level.
that, Sigma, then everything should be labeled hentai at this point because like it's just it's ridiculous. Like, oh my god, fan service. That's the one thing.
Yeah, like
that
they
makes me-
don't hide the
man.
fan servicey stuff away from that demographic the same way we would, I think, in America. So
No,
think
no,
shonen's
no.
still,
Japan does not
yeah,
do
it's still
that.
fine for them.
Yeah. I mean, I watch a lot of shoujo anime, so I watch
Like
a lot
Fire
of that.
Force, I think is such a great concept and it's such a great anime, but the fan service in that anime just turns me off so bad.
Yeah, it's pretty gratuitous.
It's such a great anime, but the fan service just irritates the heck out of me. So
Fire Force, in case no one caught what we switched to. But I don't like the story of Fire Force. I think it's dumb. I just think it's very
think I've
pretty
seen it.
and has like cool characters and powers.
I like it, but it's definitely the fan service is what has definitely turned me off from. I watched the first season and I was like, it's great.
Has fan service, this is for everyone here, not just Kat, but has fan service ever helped the show? Like, has it ever been like, oh, this show would be ass if I didn't see that ass?
No, because I haven't seen an anime yet where they have a character in some gray sweatpants. So fan service has not benefited me. Fan service has not benefited me whatsoever. Until I see a black anime character with a fresh fade, some Nike slides, and some gray sweatpants. I say
The Japanese do not know how to do that. They do not know how to do that.
fan service has
No.
been a disservice. No, I'm just kidding. I don't want to. If anyone else wants to go, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm talking way too much.
I know we're completely off the rails here, but I wanna, I've said this before, but Kill la Kill, I think, has the best version of where fan service kind of meets its story in a way that they didn't have to do this, of course, but they explain why their characters are half naked and their male and female characters spend kind of equal amounts of time being half naked, and it's because of a very story specific reason. The reason is dumb, but it fits for that crazy ass world. And I've always taken that example of like, this is how you do fan service, because like if you absolutely need to have half naked characters, make it everyone has to get in on it, and also make it a part of the story. Don't have it be like this one-off thing that just kind of happens inexplicably.
Is fan service like only that sort of like titillation stuff, or is fan service like finally these two characters got together? Like at the end of
In anime, I think it's more so the titillation. Like
Okay,
so
I don't think they treat like
It's the panty shots.
show, like,
It's the don't look
Kaguya
down my dress. It's
Yeah.
the, you know.
Okay, so there's that show like Kaguya-sama that's all about this like will they won't they of the two main characters, and then spoilers found at the end they get together. That's not fan service, right?
No.
No.
Okay,
I think I get.
That's
I
a
guess
story.
like in
It's a
video.
story.
I think it's the same. I can't talk today. I think it's the same for video games and for anime. When it comes to fan service, it's more of like the titillation, sexual,
Sure.
you
Yeah.
know,
Mhm.
which
Someone
for
takes
me-
off the shirt and, you know.
yes, or like
It's like
Parasite
kind of
Eve 2.
clear.
opens with a CG cutscene of the main character Aya Brea in the shower.
Oh yeah.
That was the first time I was ever exposed to fan service, and I'm like, this isn't furthering the plot. I just she showered.
There's a live action commercial for the N64 game Perfect Dark that starts with Joanna Dark in a shower.
Yeah.
And nothing about her in the game is like sexualized.
For no reason.
Yeah.
I think for
that's just what they do.
No, it's
My
just
first-
Japan. That's the thing. It's just Japan.
Well,
That's what they do.
That was the Brits.
Yeah, Rare's a
What do you
English
have?
Oh, was
company.
it? Okay, well.
Lampy, get your people
Then I
in
don't
order.
know. Yeah, Lampy. Get on
I
that.
think for me, my first experience with fan service was when I lived in Japan as a kid, and my parents got me a Dreamcast for my 12th birthday, and no, my 11th birthday, and I had Dead or Alive 2 on the Dreamcast.
Oh,
I think that was
those
my
two,
Yeah,
like
there's a
that
lot
was
of
my
That's
that
a
was
lot
like
of
my
jiggling.
you're right. Like that was like my
Yeah.
first experience with fan service, or in even very subtle Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Morgana, the Batgirl.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
She like that was my first time as a girl. I'm like, why are her boobies out like that? Like, you know, I'm 11 years old, 12 years old. I'm like, why are her boobies out like that? Like, how is she fighting with like that? Like that. I guess that was like my first like experience with.
I mean,
like fan service. So
the issue with jiggle physics is it's so unrealistic because like boobs
is.
fly different ways and like
it'll be
far
like
from
you.
the body. It's like
Boob
you know
havoc-
you're attached,
havoc
right?
engine.
You
It'd be
know,
like you. It'd be like you win. Like you
They
win.
have
And she
some
does
mass.
like, and it just like her boobs are just jiggling after she's already standing still. Like it's like
yeah.
it's ridiculous.
We don't know what the gravity's like on
It's
that
like-
planet.
Think, Marty, you're not going to justify your way out of this one. I'm sorry. Like it's not gonna. It's not gonna happen.
Character designer of Morgana in Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
No, that's funny. So yeah, what else? What else you guys doing? Marty gave it a topic.
Yeah,
Kat gave
that's
a
it for
topic.
me.
Yeah, Honey Money. Anything you've been watching, playing that you want to share with the class?
I'll go through it fast. Guardians 3, real good movie. Really liked it.
Nice.
Like if you have the like superhero movie fatigue, that one was good for being that, you know, because it was very much not just that kind of. I just like James Gunn. I just think I like what he does. Watched Resident Evil Death Island. That's a dumb movie. It's such a dumb movie. It's so good looking. It's terrible. It is
I think I'm gonna watch
incredibly
it today.
dumb. Yeah, like it's not a bad time, but it's incredibly dumb. Just
Do you need to be like a Resident Evil fan to like kind of pick up?
even
on
if you
what's
like
going on?
Resident Evil, you'll think it's dumb.
Resident Evil is dumb. And that's why
Yeah.
I love it. It is very dumb.
I mean,
It's very
you
dumb
might,
and it is perfect.
yeah, I don't think you need to be a fan to watch it, but there will be some things that will definitely, because it's just a new villain anyway, and there's a new virus anyway.
But it's like the first
just
time a lot of the main characters have been together in a story in a long time.
Yeah, but
kinda
they
like
some of
fucking
them
all of them.
look weird. Like they don't look like they should, so that's
They're-
also been off.
Resident Evil's had a long time thing of its characters just start looking different at certain times. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why does it just look way different now than it used to?
Jill just looks exactly the same because of reasons, you know. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Like, has
Good.
time passed or something, or like is this set like?
There's
after, like, a
something
bunch of the
she
games?
can't age or something like that. I think.
Yeah,
There's
some of the
something
characters
weird going
got some weird serums going through them. I think.
Yeah, so it's like it's all
Bit
really
by all the
dumb.
zombies that many times?
At a certain
Yeah.
point, if you get bit by enough zombie dogs and plants and shit, like you're gonna start aging weirdly.
Yeah. I played Twin Mirror on stream from Don't Nod. I had never
Oh,
heard
yeah.
of this game.
Yeah, I've not heard of
It's
that.
really bad. It's terrible. Because I was like, oh, it's Don't Nod.
Is
It's
it a
probably
story
pretty good. I
thing
like
like their other
choices.
games?
Yeah, choices matter. So I was like, because I like those types of games.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, it can't be that, you know, it's Don't Nod. I expect some sort of, you know, the writing might be a bit off because it's like, this is what we think American people talk like. It's kind of that conversation they have all the time. But
Sure.
it was just bad. It was terrible. You're trying to solve a murder of some you don't really, who was an asshole. You don't care about anyone. You have to find all clues until you can, like, because you do it like, you gather clues and then you try to put everything together. But you have to find every single clue before you can even start puzzling things together.
it-
And I'm like, what's the
does
point
it-
then?
Does it do a thing where the clues you find help you outside the game? in any
No.
way? Like, so you wouldn't have any idea what's going on based on the stuff you find before the game says this is
No,
what
it's
this
just
means?
for that specific thing you're trying to solve right then and there. Because like, oh,
Okay.
the fight happened here. Where did it start? Oh, broken vase. And it's like, find this, and then you put them together, and like you just stuck in that, and you just walk around looking for prompts. That's the gameplay. And then you
Yes.
go into a fucking dumb mind palace thing, and like press S to remember,
Persona?
and it's like,
Sounds like Persona. It's a
well,
mind palace.
it's so much worse. It's not a good game. And this is what I
Frogworks.
was like, oh,
They do the Sherlock Holmes / Sunken
yeah.
City games and have the Mind Palace thing, which is actually really cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So maybe
That's-
there's a
that-
bad take on that.
Still watching Bleach because the new season is on episode 5. It's bad. It's bad.
That's how I felt about the first
It's
season.
bad. It's just bad. I just like, well, the first season was better than this season because
Really?
this
'Cause
season has
that-
been Ichigo has been missing for several episodes. You see him like maybe 1 minute here and there, and because they're building up, right?
Yeah, you got to keep the main protagonist away so he can't solve everybody's problems
Yeah.
so fast.
But it's so far it's on the whole of season 2 has been, oh, look how strong the Quincy's are. Oh, now we're turning the tables. We got our things back. Oh no, now the Quincy's are stronger. They had another trick up their sleeve. I'm
Yeah.
like, what are we doing? Give me some story at least. It's fights every episode, just like big fights, nothing else.
And you know
I'm
what?
so bored.
I could get behind that if Bleach had improved the way they do fight choreography. But like that was the main thing that was taking me out of everything in the first season, is that I already knew that story because I had read ahead in the manga a bit. So like the revelations of like people's new abilities and like people's past, like they tend to do, like none of that was like hitting hard for me. I wanted to see, you know, the expression of their powers, you know, fantastically animated, and you'll get like big pillars of like effects, but you won't see like a sword swing hit a body or like a dot, like just choreography of a fight is missing entirely from most of Bleach's encounters. You just get and then like let's zoom out 100 miles away so you can see how big the explosion was. Like that's not fun to watch.
No, and I assume they're doing we're doing several seasons, so but they're just cramming things into like, oh, it's a season 2, it's gonna be all of this because it feels like that because it's just been like Quincy's are very strong. Oh, we got the hand overhand. They came back. Oh shit! It's like that's all it is constantly, and I'm just like I'm so uninterested. There's nothing else, and I'm like,
it's upsetting, honestly.
Yeah, it is really bad. Jujutsu Kaisen though, season 2, much better than I thought it would be. Much better than I thought it would be. It's actually interesting.
Right?
It's prequel.
Right.
Yeah, so you get to know how, you know, the dude turned bad because they were classmates, and how
So season 2 is like, because I haven't gotten there yet. So season 2 is basically showing you how you got to season 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically.
Is there a show called Zero though? Isn't there Jujutsu Kaisen?
That's a
Zero?
movie. Yeah, the movie. I still don't really understand where the movie fits in because that seems like a separate thing.
If I remember correctly, that movie is the year before the main 3 kids are in school together. So like whatever class was before them, you're seeing that class as freshmen.
What if we just tell our stories in order?
Right? That's kind of where I'm at.
What if we just start at the beginning and go to the end?
There's a lot of anime that tend to be like, hey, welcome to this world. Here are your main characters. And then they just spend an inordinate amount of time telling you about its history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
like in the latest
anything about the main characters anymore after that point.
Yeah. Oh, in the latest episode of Jujutsu Kaisen, they showed, because one of the current class members, the dark-haired dude, how he ended up at the school and like who he is, which was kind of interesting to see because he has a connection to the prequel, basically where he comes from. So that's interesting. Also, watch
good.
Yeah, I think it's good because it gives me the story I'm interested in. It's not just action. Because I think that's what annoys me with Bleach. Because with Bleach, I like the characters. But I want it balanced, right? Mm-hmm. But currently, it's just action. There's nothing else, and I'm so uninterested in that. It's fine. It's a lot of flash. It's a lot of colors. It's a lot of shouting, it's anime, but
Like we
yeah.
got Demon Slayer to compare to nowadays. Like you can't come back and then not be as good as Demon Slayer. You know
That
what I
is
mean?
true.
Like
I still think Kai Cenat is better than Demon Slayer, but that's me.
I
I
disagree.
know that's
But
a
okay.
yeah, I know it's a hot take for a lot of people, but uh I watched Joyride, which is basically the Hangover
Oh
movies, but
yes,
like
but
one
like the
movie,
Asian
but Asian
cast. Yeah.
Hmm.
ladies. Yeah,
How was that?
and it's super dumb, right?
But like
Like one of the
intentionally, right?
lines is,
Or
"You're all drug dealers now, bitches," and they blow cocaine on them. So that's a whole thing. But that's kind of how it starts and goes off the rail. Um, but it's weirdly deep and handles deep things like identity and stuff like that. It's still really dumb. Don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
but because it ends up with like one of the ladies are adopted. We know this from the beginning. So she like the movie then ends with like her trying to find her birth mom and stuff. Not for the right reasons really, but yeah. And then it's just like the wacky journey there. It's a kind of easy movie to watch, basically. But obviously for me being adopted myself, it kind of made me go, "Oh my God!" Like I
oh,
cried quite a bit.
He's like
Yeah,
me.
yeah. So, but otherwise, it's fine. It's not a good movie, but it's not a bad time, I would say.
that's fine. Yeah, like a
That's
middle of the
basically it.
road. Like we need those,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was that
especially
streaming or was that in theaters? Did you
I
watch it
think
for
it's on
free?
Amazon.
Amazon.
like I like that there are more movies that appeal to like a niche audience. Like okay, this is an all Asian
Yeah,
cast or this is an all black cast,
Sure.
but it's not
yeah.
it like it doesn't have to be a big theatrical release and it doesn't have to be
No.
this big profound story that's being told. Like it can be dumb, it can be mediocre. Like that anime that hit Netflix the other day, not the other day, it was actually a while ago, but Yasuke. That one was a little disappointing
Mm-mm.
because like that was telling the story of like an actual black samurai, but they fused it with all this like fantasy mumbo jumbo and kind of diluted the
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, that was a little
Yeah,
disappointing
but
for
then there
sure.
was also Cannon Busters, which also stars a bunch of like it was made by a black creator. It has a bunch
Mm.
of like black characters in it, but is generally kind of bland and uninteresting.
Oh,
But I just like that it exists. Like it's just there's just
yeah.
throw that stuff out there. Like because yes,
Yeah.
we can have like really good stuff, but it's okay to just have stuff.
This like a movie I really like this year that again does nothing new is this movie. It's a rom-com on Hulu, I think, called Rye Lane, and it's pretty much a meet cute of this of these a guy and a girl and they're both black and black in London,
Mhm.
and who had just got broken up with and how they spend the day together. And they just got it's like the premise of like any rom-com where there's a meet cute and then they're just wandering around the city, but it's like it's London and like
Yeah.
their backgrounds just make it's like a very normal movie, but those two elements to me give it something to where if it was like fucking Matthew McConaughey and
Right.
Reese Witherspoon in New
It would
York,
be
I'd be like,
fully
oh, I've seen this a
forgettable.
million
Yeah.
times. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, I'm a fan of that sort of stuff.
yeah.
I'm not gonna praise it just for existing. Like I
No,
want to stay away from
No.
that, but like I do like that it's there.
yeah,
I
same.
mean, I just think it's nice that the fact that it can be made, considering if you look back at, the Hangover movies, several movies, all, white guys, that, like, you couldn't just have a cast of Asian ladies back then doing this type of
Yeah.
movie. It wouldn't, no one would green light
Like it would
that.
have to be
So,
the Joy Luck Club rather than Joy Ride,
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like we have to be
it
going
has
for
to be
Oscar
about
bait.
honor and
Yeah.
family and,
Yeah.
So just the fact that it's allowed to be a ridiculous thing that someone is just like, let's just do this. And everyone's,
Mhm.
yeah, let's do it. It doesn't have to be deeper than that, but just the
Nope.
fact that it's allowed to be now is kind of cool to see.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. As for me, if we're gonna keep on this what we've been watching train, because I really haven't been playing any games that I can talk about. I mentioned this I think on Breakout, but I finished Trigun Stampede.
Ooh, sneaky snake.
Oh,
Trigun Stampede is fantastic. Like
Mhm.
the more time I've spent away from it, because I watched it over the course of like maybe 3-4 days, I'm appreciating it more and more. Like it's beautiful. It retells the original story in like especially if you've seen that story before, it it gives it to you in a way where you have no idea what's going on. Like you know what's going on because you've watched Trigun, but the way it tells its story kind of leaves you with questions for every single episode. Like, oh, how are they going? Like, what's happening? Because they tell it in a completely different way. But you arrive in pretty much the same place, except not. Like, you get all the details of the original story, but you end up in a place that feels like the beginning of the original story, and like you can't wait to see what happens next. And like they're planning a season 2, which is like, oh, that's really cool because they've told all the story I know.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, now
that's
they can
cool.
jump into like a completely new direction.
Right. And like, and they seeded in all these things that weren't in the original Trigun, but make sense in that world that they can jump off of. So like they can go and tell a slightly different, brand new thing for people who are familiar with that world. And like, I was so ingrained with it. Like I went back and started watching the original Trigun because I'm like, all right, so how much from this is actually brand new and what am I just not remembering from old Trigun? And the first thing is, old Trigun is about twice as long. Like there's like twice as many episodes. So like some of the beats that they hit in the first show just take a lot longer to get there. There's like maybe 4 or 5 episodes until the two girls, the insurance adjusters, actually believe that Vash is Vash. Like they go on this, oh, is this guy actually the person we're looking for way longer. Like the anime solves that in like the very first episode, which is like, that's all you really needed in Stampede.
Also, one of the characters is named Robert De Niro.
Yes, one of his named Robert De Niro. That character's new. That character's brand new in Stampede.
Yeah. It takes like the two in the original show. It was like the two women who were like the insurance.
They were insurance adjusters who were like following him to minimize the damage he causes. And they turned one of them into a reporter, and then now she's paired with like a more senior guy
named Robert De Niro.
You named Robert De Niro. But like stuff like that, like that makes more sense. Like then you like, or they're insurance girls and they get tied up with this guy and emotionally invested in like whatever he's going through. But
in the wake of his destruction.
But one thing is like I'm not finished my rewatch just yet. Like I just got to like the big twist where they start revealing like some of the truth of like Vash's backstory, which was front and center in the retelling. But I'm realizing like it really does feel like 2 different shows because of that. Like the old shows, like there's almost no hint of anything sci-fi in that series until really far in.
Yeah.
So like I can't imagine as a kid watching that, and that's the thing I don't remember. Like as a kid, did I just think like, oh well, it's anime, of course it gets sci-fi at some point.
Yeah, you can put a spaceship in anything.
Right, but like if I was watching it with like the brain I have today, I'd be like, where the F is this coming from? Like I thought this was a Western.
Yeah.
So like I don't know, like maybe it was that like mind breaking to folks back then. But
it's also cool that, have you been watching it subbed or dubbed?
I am watching it dubbed.
Same, and it's cool that Johnny Young Bosch reprises his role. Like, and I think that was one of his first roles as Trigun originally, and so Vash Stampede originally, and so it's cool that he comes back, 2 decades later or so, and he's obviously a much more seasoned actor.
Yeah, the voice acting is fine. Like it sounds like that era of anime. Yeah, if that makes sense. Like it's
in the original.
Yeah, in the original.
Yeah.
So like in my brain, I'm like comparing it to how like Full Metal Alchemist had their one version, and then they did Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, where they retold it and stuck closer to the manga. Stampede is not sticking closer to the manga. Like I think is like redoing the story entirely, but it feels similar in that like they up the quality of the storytelling, but also added in more anime-ness, if that makes any sense.
Reminds me a little bit of the Evangelion rebuilds in that respect.
Those change the story? I thought they were just recut.
No, they do start to change the story. Like those 4 movies, the first movie is very much almost just like a adaptation of the first couple episodes, and then very clearly they start to veer off, but those Eva movies become kind of meta. They become about Eva in a way that like almost the Final Fantasy VII remake is currently doing, or even Metal Gear Solid 2.
I think I need to rewatch those. Because I don't know.
They're even called like you cannot redo, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
The Evangelion movies.
Dang. Because when I first watched
the first movie is definitely a remake. If you've only watched the first movie, it is definitely a remake of the first couple episodes, and then they
But the thing is, I didn't like. I'd watched Evangelion like a couple of times, like because like it used to play on repeat back in the day, right? But I never understood it. Like I did not get that show.
Oh,
And
I could not explain that to you.
I just liked the opening. That was the main reason I stuck around, I think. But but after I
it's
watched
great.
the first movie, I don't know if I've seen the second one. I think I have. But after I watched those first like recut movies, I could finally make sense of the plot, and I was really into it. So I was waiting for that third one to like get me to the end. But I don't know if because I don't remember it feeling meta, so I don't know if I'm watching the same movies.
There's a new one released.
You just might not have gotten
last year, I think, as well.
Yeah, last year, 2 years ago.
They keep releasing them. They're called like Rebuild of Evangelion, basically.
Yeah. The fourth one is the end. Like I feel like that's the end. Like I was about to say the end of Evangelion, but that was already a thing. But I feel like he seems like he's done. For 20 years, and then he'll come back on his deathbed and be like, one more time.
I feel like we need it to end at some point.
Never. Right. Not my sweet boy Shinji.
That's pretty much it for me with my Trigun stuffs. So we can get into the Riot talk now if everyone's ready. In case you have not heard about the story or don't know who we're talking about, there's a Twitch streamer who goes by the name Kai Cenat. Well, this is his actual name. I don't think he goes by that name. This is his name. But very, very popular. 20 million subscribers, I think, or followers.
No, 6.5 Twitch.
But I think he has like 20 million followers somewhere because a news report.
Oh, probably
said such. But
essentially, I think his home platform is Twitch.
Right, he's a Twitch streamer. At one point, I think he was like the #1 Twitch streamer. He made an announcement that he was going to do a giveaway in New York City. Random internet stuff like PCs, PlayStation 5s, mics, like streamer equipment, whatnot. He was going to show up at this park in New York City, and folks basically come out there to meet him and have a chance to win stuff. And apparently, like thousands of young people showed up to either meet or win stuff from Kai Cenat. And the police basically had to show up in response because there were so many people. Like they were blocking traffic, like stuff was inaccessible. They were getting reports of like fireworks going off, and I don't know, like people just started to get out of hand. Like it was a gathering of a bunch of young people who are like hopped up on internet juice, I guess is, I don't know a better way to phrase this.
On cloud. So they all
get together in the real world. Like in front of like this guy who they watch on screen be wild and crazy in his little streaming studio or whatever. And it seems like things just went off the rails. So like the cops responded, a bunch of people got injured, cops got injured. I think like 65 people got arrested. Kai Cenat himself was detained, and they are now they're bringing him up on charges of inciting a riot.
Yep. Yes, several.
Yeah, a couple of charges of inciting a riot.
Wait, was it several riots or one riot? At what point? If like two riots are going on a block away, is it just one riot?
No, I think it's all the same riot, but I think it's there are multiple like one charge is inciting a riot, another charge is like unlawful something or another. Who knows?
A gathering or something, I guess.
So, but essentially, I'm bringing this up because this is kind of just wild. But like we've also seen similar stuff. Like Mr. Beast, has shown up. Funnily enough, also on the East Coast, he was at a New Jersey mall and basically said like, "Oh, come show up and I'll be at this mall at I guess his restaurant," which I think he's now suing. It was a whole other story.
Yeah, the Ghost Kitchen stuff.
Yeah, and
he's suing his own restaurant.
Yeah, something.
No, he's suing the Ghost Kitchen company that handles all his Mr. Beast because some of the restaurants they handled they've been putting out bad food basically.
So there's a back and forth. Like
he's not suing himself.
Beef with them. But essentially, I'm just curious. Like, what do you guys take on this sort of a situation? Like, they're bringing Twitch or the internet to the real world to disastrous consequences. It seems like. Was this a mistake? Is this a bad idea? Like,
I mean, it's just not new, I guess. I'm not surprised because, like, look at Logan Paul. What did he do in Japan? You know, that's the most. We've been having this for a while. YouTubers, Twitch, like, it doesn't matter. People do in like real life streams. It's nothing new. It's just like it's the thing of being dumb enough to be like, oh, I'm pretty famous online. And I'm like, I'm gonna give away a lot of fucking expensive shit in New York where there's a lot of people and a lot of people can
A
get
lot of
there.
people and not a lot of space.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I really feel like, I'm sorry, honey, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. That's it. It's just dumb, basically. I
So,
just think it's dumb.
Sigma, when I saw you post what we were talking about, I laughed because you already know how I feel about this dude. Like,
Because Kat, you just ran into him.
Yeah, I saw him like at DreamCon. I didn't like actually meet him.
Can you tell us what DreamCon is? I actually don't know.
So DreamCon is, so I don't know if anyone follows they're like a group of gentlemen from Texas called RDC World. And they have been creating content in reference to anime, hip hop, gaming, comic books.
Have
and
you ever seen like the Anime House kind of skits?
Oh,
yes,
okay.
So they've started back in like, I've been following them since like 2014, 15. They started off when they were all, from my understanding, I believe they all met when they all went to school at University of North Texas. And they just started putting out really funny stuff. They fuse like Black culture with anime, and it's just become extremely popular. So their first con, they created something called DreamCon, and it's just gotten so big that this year I believe there's about 20,000 people in attendance this year.
Cool.
And it's an anime convention. I mean, anyone can attend, but it really is. It was awesome to see so many Black people in one place enjoying anime. Like, it was just a really cool thing to see and experience.
Yeah.
So that's what DreamCon is. It's anime convention.
And where was it?
It was in Austin this year.
Gotcha.
So I was there with my friends, and Kai Cenat was there. And I didn't actually meet him, but I saw him. And I'm not a really big, I think it's great that he has such a huge platform and a huge following. I personally do not like his content. It's just not for me. I think I've talked to Sigma about it. I think his content is kind of annoying. That's just my personal opinion.
I think it's problematic, but that's
it's
extreme.
It's extremely problematic in my opinion. Some of the stuff that he does. He also, there's another streamer called I Show Speed, I believe is his stream name. He's extremely problematic.
They're pretty much the same in terms of what
he had a racist thing going.
Yeah, like it's
lately.
Yeah, like it's really. I'm not trying to, I always want to see Black people succeed, or especially Black men, Black women. Yeah. But their stuff is extremely problematic to me. Like, that's just me. So when I saw him at DreamCon, people were like breaking their necks to get into like the main showroom where he was. And he's just annoying to me. Like, he's just annoying. Like, I don't know the man from a can of paint, but let me correct myself. I don't know him personally. It's his content that annoys me.
Sure.
It's his content. That I do not like. So I'm sorry, go ahead, Sigma. I'm sorry.
No, if anything, I just wanted to add, there's also, because I feel the same way. Like, I'm put off by like the stuff he makes.
Yes.
But there's this side of the conversation that is essentially, because he's young and Black, you kind of have to support him.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be negative about what he makes because he's very successful and we want him to succeed, right? But then again, it's like, why is this what needs to succeed? Like, that's kind of how I feel.
There was one stream he did. They were all dressed up as like Harry Potter, like different houses from Harry Potter, and there was this one girl. I don't know if she was from the States or whatever, but he basically was having her say the N-word. He wanted to see how it sounded coming from her because she had like an accent. So he was like, say this word, and she was saying it on stream, and it was like, people thought it was funny, and I'm thinking, like, that's not
right
funny to me. That's not.
That's him being going for shock value, being immature, like, not
like. And then you're putting I don't know if she's from this country. I don't know if she even knows what she's saying, but it's like you're kind of putting her in a really weird predicament because she just thinks she's going along being funny, and you're like, hey, say this word, and she's like saying it in her accent. I was like, okay, that's problematic. So going back to the whole riot thing, in my opinion, this is just me, I think he knew what he was doing. He knows that he has an extremely big following of a lot of influential younger people. He knows the type of influence he has. So for him to do that, I think it's great for him to do, like, hey, I'm giving out streaming stuff. I think that was awesome. But I think the way he did it, he obviously did that for shock value. Like, that's not
And it made national news. It was
it made national news.
And so it wasn't just the people who are tapped in who know him now. He's like, my mom asked me about him. She was like, you do stuff on Twitch. Has this ever happened to you? And I'm like, yes.
You know this man?
I take the 25 people watching me play Link to the Past. I'm like, kill for me.
So like apparently, like when I read a little bit more, he didn't have any permits. So that may be a difference between him and Mr. Beast. Like Mr. Beast may be doing all the legal requirements before he does these really big things. That might be the difference between him and Mr. Beast. Kai Cenat didn't have any permits. He didn't let anyone know. He didn't have any type of crowd control. Nothing like that. So by definition, he kind of did incite a riot because you said, "Hey guys, I have 20 million followers on social media. I'm giving out hundreds of thousands of worth of equipment. Come find me.
Come find me at
Come find me."
Yeah.
So it's like there's people, like you said, people got hurt. Vandalism, property of people who had nothing to do with it. Their property was damaged. People were jumping on cars, busting in windows. Like, by definition, you did incite a riot. But I think apparently what they said is they issued him a desk ticket. Like they dropped the charges and they issued him a desk ticket. So I don't know if he has to pay like fines on those.
Yeah, I'm unsure about how they plan to handle that. Like, I watched some of the press conferences afterwards. The mayor, Eric Adams of New York City, made some comments. And he said something that I found interesting, that he believed, or like they believed, that there might have been outside instigators who showed up and like started like maybe trying to get the situation to escalate further than it should have, like because people were throwing fireworks and smoke bombs, whatever. And he was like, I don't see why someone would show up to a giveaway with fireworks and smoke bombs. But I'm pretty sure Kai Cenat has several videos of him lighting fireworks, etc., inside of his studio. So that seems like the exact sort of thing that a rabid fan base would show up to show him. It's like, hey, you light fireworks on your streams. I'm going to show up with fireworks because that's what we do here.
Well, and I'm assuming his audience skews younger, and is
everyone
very impressionable.
Everyone who was arrested was underage.
Yeah, and is extremely impressionable. And also, again, when you're that young, because this guy is 21, which is bafflingly young. I didn't realize people are still 21. I didn't realize that was still an age people could be. When you think about it, if these kids who got arrested were underage, were under 18, that means they've spent a sizable chunk of their life in a pandemic. In a pandemic which fucking skewed reality for everyone.
Yeah.
And so that is weird for those of us who are not 21, but for someone who is that age, like I have nieces and nephews like that, and I'm like, that is wild to think a sizable chunk of your life is now so fully integrated into, and it was beforehand too, but sort of the parasocial relationships of social media and of Twitch, of YouTube, and of everything. And so like there's the touch grass joke that everyone makes, but like I feel like a lot of people just might not understand what reality is like anymore. And so when a thing like this happens, it is like I'm trying to take how I act and how I can act in this ostensibly fake digital landscape and place it in reality with buildings and pedestrians and shop owners and traffic and cops. And like those two things just don't mesh. And then I was saying before we went live, I also don't like cops. And so part of me, this is a very tough thing for me because I'm very confused at everything on Twitch. But I also feel like the cops that like shoved a kid's face through a window need to be fucking.
Yeah, they probably didn't need to respond with the force that they did.
No,
because these are just dumb kids. But at the same time, these dumb kids put themselves in the crosshairs.
Yeah.
Like, because cops love to do this shit. Like, they get up in the morning to be like, oh, some crazy kids are fucking up cars outside. Let's get them. Like, so like, and again, like, it might just be because they're young. Kai Cenat himself, 21 years old. Like, 21 is especially today. Like, you are still a child, very much. Like, there's probably a lot
he got famous when he was much younger. Right?
Like he's been doing this for years already, right? So like,
to be that young with that much influence, and you're essentially he's a millionaire. Like to be be that influential at that age. I mean, think about it. When I saw the videos, it kind of reminded me of when Michael Jackson was at that hotel and like the streets were just, he was literally
Yeah.
just outside. He was just at a hotel and the whole street was crowded. Like it kind of reminded me of that. Like he has an extremely big influence. This Kai Cenat guy. There's no doubting that. Like, and I think it's awesome. I don't feel bad for him, if that makes any
No.
sense. Like I don't feel like like you said, Marty, like the aggression that some of the cops used on some of these younger kids wasn't necessary. Absolutely
Yeah.
not. Some people were getting upset that Kai Cenat was arrested. I think he should have been. Like,
Yeah, it's like arrested. He's not going
This-
to jail.
this
Yeah, they
happened-
didn't like really. They detained.
He's not
him.
going to prison.
Yeah, detained and arrested.
Yeah, they
for those out in the
took
world,
him and
detained,
like, hey, what the
detained,
hell?
and arrested are two completely different things. So they detained him, but like, I don't feel bad for the fact that he got detained. Like,
No.
God for like,
No.
you know, I'm glad that no one was truly hurt. If y'all know what I'm talking about, I'm glad that no one was like killed or
It
shot.
could have gotten a lot
or-
worse.
Yeah, it could have gotten a
Yeah.
lot worse. I'm grateful, but I kind of feel like he should. I think he knows the type of influence and the type of chaos that would have probably created. But I think that's what he was going for, in all honesty. But that's just me.
Like to counter that a little bit, like I do think he's aware of the kind of chaos that he can create, but I'm not convinced he's aware of its effect on everyone else. Like
I
like,
agree.
I feel like
Okay.
he's
Yeah.
so young that like he's not a teenager technically, but teenagers literally believe themselves to be invincible. Like when you're at that age, like you can't process like your own mortality in a real way, and when you add to that all of this money and influence, there's nothing that's like off limits to him. Like I'm sure he's surrounded by yes men. If anybody in his crew was like, hey, we should probably get a permit for this, if that met with any resistance from anybody else in that team, then that's like if Kai Cenat was like, well, how long does that take? Oh, I want to do it today. It just happens today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a sign of his immaturity and like how much power he's amassed with that level of immaturity.
And I wish I hope, like, you know, I hoped that, you know, for someone to be as successful, I'm hoping that maybe this will help him. Like, I need to have people with more logic in their thinking in his
Yeah, you
circle.
would hope.
Like,
Yeah.
hopefully this will help him. Like, okay, so
But
this
they're all
doesn't happen.
probably his same age, though.
Yeah,
That's the
his
issue.
crew-
But and honestly, I don't even necessarily think it's the age. There's a lot of really mature people that are in their early 20s, and you know, personally, back when I was 20, I'm not saying I was, you know, everyone is immature at some point in their lives, but when I remember when I was 22, 23 years old, I don't ever remember. I mean, I would think before I did anything, but at the same time, I didn't have that access to money, and I didn't have such a huge. There's so many, I guess, outside influences that can affect that person themselves too, you know. So I just
Yeah.
hope that, you know, I hope that he continues to be successful, and I hope that going forward he has people in his circle that are truly looking out for him. Because yes, man, when the money runs out or something happens, are those people still going to be there to help you guide through those hard times
Yeah,
or
I'm
guide
curious
through
kind of what happens when he does age up a bit. Like what does he pivot to? Like
yeah.
does Twitch come to an end at some point? like
Like, I hope there's people
It's
in
gonna
his inner
move
circle
kick
that
them.
are going to that truly have his best interests at heart. Like, I want to see you succeed beyond. You know, what if the, you know, Twitch shuts down indefinitely, or something happens, and the, you know, social media just isn't as important as it used
I
to be.
mean,
Like,
he's gotten banned before, but he's such a big. They won't ban him,
they make
him
him.
unless he kills someone on stream.
Kai Cenat makes Twitch too much money. Like,
Yeah, that's his
he
thing.
makes them too. When I saw, that was one thing I didn't like when they basically say how much Twitch made off of Kai Cenat and how much he got paid. I was like, oh, that's bullshit. Excuse my language.
No,
But like, but it's like, I was like, that's some BS for him to be the biggest streamer on Twitch. For them to, I think they said they made like almost like $20 million off him.
And so it's like,
Simply-
why you're never gonna
simply
like
off him.
slaughter
Like,
your golden calf?
Yeah,
No,
like,
they
won't.
don't bite the hand that feeds you kind of thing. Like, you know.
But
It's-
Twitch has that
it's crazy.
thing of. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, honey money.
Oh no, I was just gonna say because Twitch is infamous for applying bans in a very inconsistent manner.
Mm-hmm.
Amaranth was recently banned for 1 day. We don't know for what. She's also on Kick now. People are like, oh, they're just mad because she went to Kick. I don't even think she streams on Twitch anymore. I think so. But it's like several of these big Twitch streamers have been banned several times on Twitch, but they get banned for like a week, 2 weeks. Even non-problematic ones have been banned, like Pokimane has been banned. Like, it just happens. And Twitch, it's just an optical thing.
There was one.
Okay, they did something bad, so we got to do something and show. We actually take this seriously.
It's like detention, ostensibly.
Yeah. There was one. I haven't streamed in a while, but there was one time I had streamed for like, I think it was like 4 or 5 hours, and it was like I had a pretty good turnout. I was actually very surprised, like, oh, this is pretty cool. And when I logged into my Twitch account the next day, I had a warning or a strike or something. Like, it was really weird.
Like music or something
for like sexually explicit something. And I was just kind of like, you've watched, y'all, I don't know if you've watched my streams, Marty, but Sigma, you've seen my streams.
Were you playing Dead or Alive? Jiggle physics.
No, so I'm maybe someone reported me because of the music. Like, I don't know, because I do play rap and hip hop like on my streams.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really interesting that I got like a warning or something about that.
Yeah.
When there's these, I mean, it ain't tricking if you got it, but there's these streams of these women, like, they're basically just in a hot tub in a bikini.
It was literally the first. When I opened up Twitch to open up the chat, that was like in the hero.
Right.
Oh no!
Right?
And
it's like, I mean, get it. I'm like, it don't make no difference to me. Get it how you get it how you get it. Totally up to you. I get it. If that's how you gonna make your money, go ahead. But I just thought it was really interesting that, like what Honey Money is saying, these unproblematic, really popular Twitch streamers are getting bans when these women are, there was this one girl where she was doing like yoga on stream, and then I guess depending on the bits or the subscriptions that she was getting, she would do a different yoga move. But like, her body is like fake, like exactly what you're thinking, Sigma. I can see it in your eyes. Like, basically, like, just, it was just, obviously it was a sexual Twitch.
Like let's try to skate around these rules and be as suggestive as possible without being fully nude.
Yes. So it's like,
but the thing is, they do skate around the rules because the rules are really fucking dumb. Because when the whole hot tub thing went down, when that was the whole, should this be allowed? Should this not be allowed? Twitch's stance now, it says in the rules, is you may wear a bikini or swimwear if you're close to water, if it makes sense in context. So if you're in a shower, if you're in a pool, it's fine. Yeah, you can wear. If you're on the street doing like in snow, that wouldn't be okay. So it's very like they know the rules. The women doing this.
Also,
and I'm like,
humans are 60% water, so I'm always around water, baby.
That's true.
I can wear my swimsuit whatever I want.
But then you have the most infamous one that we keep making fun of in my Discord. It's just like Taylor Javot. She's been going for a while. It's a whole hustle she has. She's infamous.
Is that the NPC stuff?
No, it's her. She does like, is this allowed? And it's just like you can see her boobs, and she's body painting, and stuff like that. She's always in the shower. It's like two girls doing jumping jacks in the shower.
That's the person who's on my homepage.
It's always her. Yeah, she's taking. She's basically, I think she's taking over.
Why is my homepage?
And for me,
the three things it's recommending are that, Baldur's Gate, and chess, and I don't care about any of them. He needs to get all three of them out of there. I just care about Final Fantasy IV.
So I guess for me, like, it's just for Kai Cenat to have such a huge footprint. I just hope that, going forward, of course I want to see someone succeed. That's really awesome. Like, people could only hope to be that successful. And for him to accomplish that, that's a really big feat. Like, he's just as big as Mr. Beast. So it's like, I would hope that I'll say one thing, like, the fact that it's Kai Cenat and it made such a big deal, I think that's kind of messed up. If you see what I'm getting at, like, if you see where I'm going with this, like, I think it's blown out of proportion simply because of that. But that's just
like
me.
I see where you're coming from, but like I feel like it's gonna make me sound like such a hater.
No, it's not. Go ahead.
But this does not seem to me to have anything to do with
that.
with him being black. It's
I don't
honestly
think so either.
him being very irresponsible.
Yeah.
Like what he, like his whole plan, the whole framework, like none of it was organized in any way, shape, or fashion. Whether he knew or not that he would draw such a big crowd is irrelevant, because he did draw such a big crowd, and then the people in his crowd were a bunch of dickheads. So like, but like that's his audience. His audience is made up of a bunch of young idiots. Because that's
also
what he
in the
is.
city
Like
that's considered the center of the universe.
Yeah,
I mean,
like,
that's the content he puts out.
Exactly.
That's the people he's going to attract. So I don't think it's because he's black.
If he's going to take his stream out into the real world, that's what you're going to get every time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's a version of this where you get a peaceful, sensible gathering, because that's not the kind of stuff he does.
And I don't know if it's because I'm older. Like when I was at DreamCon and I was with my friends, they're like, "Oh my God, Kai Cenat!" Like people, like the main event, in the convention center, like the main event hall, like people were just, it was like out the door, because they were, from my understanding, I believe they were playing their version of Family Feud. Like it was set up just like the Family Feud like set. And they had it like on the big screens. I was annoyed. I was like, okay, like I'm not gonna, can I just go to the exhibit hall? I just want to buy something. It was just, I don't know if it's because I know I'm 34 years old, and it just, his stuff does not.
Oh, I'm older.
It just doesn't.
Youngest person here, Kat, actually.
Really, it just doesn't appeal. It just doesn't appeal to me. Like his stuff.
Same, yeah. Like, I don't like
appeal
it.
To me. No, it just doesn't. I think it's dumb. I think it's. But at the end of the day, that's how he became so popular, because of his content, regardless of how idiotic
he appeals. He appeals to kids, and I think the way because yes, like I don't want to be ageist. Like he only has young people around him, but he pays their salary, right? They get a lot of benefits from being around them. They're not going to go against him, even if they are smarter. They're young.
No, I agree.
They're smart. They can't say nothing about it, because then they'll be like, "Oh, what's you'll be pushed out of the group."
Right? Like if he doesn't want to do what they tell him, then
I hope. Sorry, this is messed up. I hope there was one person. Like, "Hey, man, I don't think this is a good idea. We should probably do this." I hope there was that one person, because at that point you could really say, "I told you so, bro."
Yeah,
you could.
I told you so.
But then depending on his demeanor, he could be like, "All right, well now listen to me,"
or whatever.
Like, you're fired. Like you're not part of my crew anymore.
And I don't know, me personally, I don't know if it was me and he said you're fired, I'd be like, okay, cool. But I can leave here knowing that I told your ass. That we probably should have did something. So let me take my leave.
Yeah. So now you have your integrity and no money.
Nowhere to live.
Hey,
no
nothing.
Can't pay rent.
Not all money is good money.
That is true, but
also homelessness.
It's easy money for them. Basically,
push against that. I think all money is good.
Really.
Money didn't do nothing.
I had to pick up my mic for that. Really, Sigma. Really.
It's super easy to hold the moral high ground when it doesn't affect like your bottom lines. But you're saying, he might have actually smart people in his crew who say what needs to be said, or are smart enough as well to be like, I'm not gonna say anything because I know how he is and he's not gonna like that, and I want to get paid.
It's funny though, these sort of riot things, like, this could be a dumb sentence. Riots for fucking stupid reasons aren't new. And I'm not talking about political riots. I'm not talking about protests, but like we see riots all the time in sports celebrations in fucking Canada.
At hockey, NHL.
2011 in Vancouver, I think it was. Like, man, it was burning Vancouver to the ground. Like 100 people went to the hospital. It was nuts. You see Black Friday stuff all the time. You see like fucking fights breaking out because there's a TV on sale or something, or like Furbies, or any of those things. And so it's just weird because that's sort of people, if you get enough people together in ostensibly a high pressure situation, although I don't know how a sports riot is high pressure because you won, like you should just be happy. People just kind of go nuts, and so now we're seeing that, but instead of Black Friday deals or sporting event things, it's a Twitch streamer who's giving out a handful of PlayStations and fucking Elgatos or something.
And I think it's less about, because like some of the news stories I saw covering it they were editorializing quite a bit. They seemed to be framing it as if he went out there promising gifts, was not handing out enough gifts, and so the people got unruly. Like, that's not what I think happened. He went out there.
No one got anything.
And his audience was out there with him, and that's just what they do.
Yeah.
That's what they.
Yeah.
If he said he was going out to the park to meet people, period, the exact same situation would have occurred, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with giving out gifts and people. Like, Kai Cenat's presence was the problem, because that is his persona on the internet, is a disruptor.
I mean, yeah, it's the trigger for let's have fun, let's get wild, because that's what he does, and he's fine. And the thing is, I think, because I don't know anything about him, I don't watch his stuff, but it just seems like, I'm 21, I have all the money in the world, I got my friends, we're just going out, we're living wild, no consequences. And it's like, I just feel like that's kind of the vibe. And I think he's been famous, and so famous, and making so much money for such a long time, has all these opportunities constantly, that his view of reality isn't really,
it's skewed.
Yeah.
He's also 21, so like all of that together just makes that kind of like, whatever, I get money, I can pay my way out of things, so like I don't have to worry about things, because he really doesn't have to worry about that much.
Someone in your chat, Lord Refa, he said, I mean, do riots happen outside the U.S.? Oh yes, riots for sure happen outside the U.S., but they happen for much more serious reasons.
Yeah,
that is true.
That is true.
Was
Rafa asking about sports riots in particular, or just riots in general?
I know, like in the UK, there's been riots because of football. Like
football.
And the Canadian one we mentioned.
But. Yeah, so like I think it sucks to see this happen, but I hope he kind of learns a lesson from it. But oh God, that just made me realize that we're those people now. We're those old people that say those darn whippersnappers.
I was trying to think, like, if I was like, I forget how old I am now. If I was in my 20s, could I have possibly been out in those streets? Like, I'm trying to think, like, what was like the wildest nonsense that I got up to back in those years? And like as a teenager, maybe, like I remember doing dummy missions, like driving late at night to far towns to like meet girls and stuff. But like,
okay, player.
It's like a group thing, but not like that, Marty.
I didn't say anything.
You gave me a look.
I did give you a look.
But in 2008,
player from the Himalayas.
In 2008, I was in college. Barack Obama became the first black president of the United States. Me and my fraternity took to the streets, and everyone in the room with us followed us, and we created sort of like an impromptu march down our College Avenue, and the police showed up, but only to block the streets and let us assemble, because apparently that's a thing that Rutgers does. Like, if the students decide that they're just going to assemble, the cops have to come protect them, right?
That's nice.
So that's the closest thing I could think of to, like, all right, being young and being excited and just like going out to cause a scene, because that was the intention. Like, we are very happy that this thing happened, and we want everyone around us to stop what they're doing and pay attention to how happy we are. But I don't like the reasoning, right? Like, one is for some douche on the internet giving out free PS5s, and then one was for the first black president. So I'm like, okay, like maybe I'm on a high horse here, but like
Obama wasn't giving out 360s though, was he at the time?
So I don't know. That's the closest thing I compare it to. So like, is it a sign of the times? Is it a sign of just straight maturity? Like, I don't know.
It's a sign of the times. I think it's a sign of the times.
I mean,
and again, it just makes me feel like old man, like Kat's saying, like, yes, we're much older now, but like when we assembled in the streets, it was for the good of the nation. It's like, it's that kind of bullshit.
It's how it goes.
I think when I try to think, when I was 21, I was in the Navy, and that was like my first time like away. I joined the Navy when I was 19 and left when I was 20, so it was like my first time away from home. Like big like culture. I mean, I've been raised around the military my whole life, but to be in the military yourself is a completely different experience. So thinking there's no way I could ever, I don't know if just everyone's upbringing is different. Like I grew up in a very strict household, so me personally, my crazy going out, doing something was with limitations. Like, I'm gonna go party, but I gotta be back by 5 because XYZ. Like, it's just that's just me. So me personally, I couldn't see myself, not for a legitimate reason. Like Sigma, like you said, like Barack Obama had just been elected president. Like, we're gonna go march in the streets and let people know we're proud and we're excited and we're happy. that is probably something. If I was in college with you, because I'm in AKA, so if I was in college with you and like, hey, all the D9s are walking in, we're gonna go march. That's probably something I would have done.
Yeah.
Like, oh, like, okay, cool. But for like, hey, girl, Kai Cenat's giving out PS5s and streaming equipment. Nah, I'm good. Like that's
right. Yeah, I'm trying to like what would be an
me.
equivalent thing that would like galvanize
like
you as a
that's
youthful
just
person?
me.
Like I don't know.
Yeah,
It wouldn't be
yeah.
something that dumb. I feel like.
So,
But
Yeah.
it's these kids that may have been watching him for like 2 years, 3 years, 1
Yeah.
year, 6 months, and they're like, we can actually go meet this guy that we really like. We like what he does. He's funny. I want to be his friend. You know,
And
it's that
I'm so
whole
charming, he will pull
thing.
me into his inner circle, and
Yeah,
I will become a
exactly.
member of
Yeah.
his entourage. Yeah.
for me, I think I'm a fan of some celebrities, but I'm not, I don't know. I've always been like this, even before I, hit my 30s. But when I've had opportunities to go meet, I just don't like crowds. Like me standing in line for 4 hours to meet someone, another human
No.
being, it just does not seem like justifiable to me. Like it just
Sure.
doesn't. Like people like the whole the Taylor Swift phenomenon, which by the way, I heard she's done some pretty cool stuff for her staff. Like giving
Oh,
like
yeah.
100,000
Yeah.
100,000
Yeah.
bonuses.
Everyone who drove
like,
all the trucks.
I don't care.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Swift.
pretty cool. Like
T
Beyonce
Swift, voice of
though.
our generation.
Okay, I didn't go that far.
Oh, sorry.
So
Son of my own ride over here.
so like the whole Taylor Swift phenomenon, the Beyonce, the Beehive, the Barbs, these are things cool. Like meeting one person is just not. I rather meet, like, I would probably be more excited to meet someone from the Discord and someone that I've spent personal time with than meeting a complete stranger. Am I making any sense here? Like,
Yeah, like you value like actual relationships more than parasocial relationships, because that's what all of
Like-
those are.
Like
Right?
the
Like,
people
I
on Discord,
like-
you
go ahead.
Sorry. No.
No, go ahead, Marnie.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, if you talk with people on Discord, it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
You know, if you hang out with people in chat, it's a two-way street. Whereas this Kai Cenat guy didn't know anyone in that audience. Like,
No.
he didn't know
And you
any
won't
of those
remember
people.
anyone. You
No,
won't
and when
remember them.
your stream is getting fucking hundreds of thousands of millions of concurrence, like, it's not like you're building a bond with any of them.
No.
Like when I went to DreamCon, I met some friends that I had met for the very first time in person, and it was wonderful. Like it was just
That's
a
awesome.
really, really
Yeah.
cool experience. I ran into people that I was stationed with in Hawaii when I was in the Navy. I hadn't seen them in almost 10 years, and I just saw them walking and cosplaying. Like things like that, I guess for me are like really exciting. But when
Yeah, it's
those
more
celebrities were,
Yeah.
when I saw those celebrities, I was like, it's cool. Like I'm a big fan of their stuff, but like I'm not gonna break my neck to see you, and I'm definitely not about to sweat in this Austin heat. To be no. If you've been to Texas, y'all know. But it's just, yeah, I just don't really see a point in a celebrity who is a complete stranger, them holding so much significance in my life, if that makes any sense. So
No,
But I
I don't think
digress.
any of us here feel that. But also thinking back when you're young and you have this person you really admire, and then because you have these delusions of like, oh, I want to be this person's friend. They'll like me. I'll show how cool I am. You see that all the time, even online in stream chats. People are like, notice me, sensei, look at me. And it's like, that just happens. People want that. And I think people do that without knowing a lot of times. And they think they're cooler than they are. So I think everyone's kind of susceptible a bit to it. But especially young people, because they don't get that. They don't, like, parasocial relationships is just a big thing for young people now, because that's how the new famous people are YouTubers, they're streamers. It's not just actors that you only see like walking down the red carpet anymore. It's a different thing because they're more accessible, because they're there maybe every day, all the time. You can watch their Instagram, you can watch their TikToks, you can follow them and be part of their life. Feel
just like that guy who sold his house to go to that Travis Scott concert, this dude sold. I have to find the article.
I
guess
saw
Travis
that.
Scott was holding like this monumental concert like in Egypt around the pyramids. So this guy ended up selling his house
Worth it.
to go afford a ticket and place to stay. I mean, obviously it's not that much, but he basically sold his house to get money so he could go to this concert. Concert ends up getting canceled.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's like you're telling me your thought process, something that holds monetary value, something that is essentially your livelihood, could be your livelihood, your home, where you stay. You sold that to simply see someone in concert where probably hundreds, thousands of other people are going to be. He's probably never going to meet you. You probably won't be able to hear him that well because people are going to be screaming and yelling and singing because that's what happens at concerts. You did this life-changing, monumental thing simply to go to a concert. That is, I don't understand that.
Story, right?
I'll find the link, but he had a picture. He's like, I actually, like a picture of him saying, I actually did it. So I am telling you something. I'll find it and send it to you.
So dumb. That is so dumb. That's such a bad decision. First of all, how do you, if you're capable of making a decision that dumb, how did you buy a house?
How did you get a house in the first place?
I was about to say that, like, was it something he inherrited? Was it something that was given to him? And
because he must not have cared about it.
Or maybe he just like went insane and just became a crazy fan of something. Did you guys ever see that show Swarm on
it's
Amazon?
It's based off of the Beehive.
Right? Yeah, but it's like a sort of a faux Beyonce pop star, and it's not about her. It's about a hyper fan and how her life kind of spirals out because she's so obsessed with.
Marty, do you know what the Beehive is?
Is that just Beyonce's like hardcore fans?
It's like a cult, essentially.
Okay.
They
like beyond hardcore.
Yes, Sigma is laughing because he knows it's true.
I find it very funny, but it is troubling.
It's low key cult.
Yeah.
Psychotic people that are Beehive people. It's insane.
It's when you deify a celebrity or someone you just don't even know, and like, well,
you're like,
seems like a bad idea.
So there's a lot of it around the pop stars. Like Lady Gaga has her collab,
BTS Army.
Yes. Oh my God, the K-pop stands.
Oh, they ruined the whole. Wasn't it like the Republican? What is it, like the party they meet up? There was
the
like
RNC.
Yeah, they like ruined that. They bought out several tickets or something like that.
They bought out all the tickets for like an RNC convention, and then showed up. So it just looks
really funny. That's actually really funny.
So it's just really interesting to me that, and I think people. I mean, this isn't new. This isn't new as far as glorifying or putting, people on pedestals.
Elvis or the Beatles, like
the Beatles. It's. Michael Jackson is probably the best example we could probably use. Like the man walked on water essentially from the late 60s into. You definitely showed that you're a dad because that was corny.
I apologize.
I picked up my mic twice today because of you, Sigma. Corny. I need a little thing like y'all have. What's that called? Like the little.
I don't
thing
know.
For the mic
arm.
Mic arm.
Oh,
Thank you, Marty.
My mic is on top of a box.
Mine
is too. Mine's on the box it came in.
Yeah, Honey's using magic on her stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, yours is just fucking floating.
But yeah, that's all I really have to say about the Kai Cenat stuff. I think it's crazy that it happened, and
it's gonna happen again.
It's gonna happen again.
Yeah.
He's probably gonna talk about it on his stream. It's probably gonna get him more views because
that's gonna be his most viewed stream.
Like more people now know who.
They'll be like about the riot. ...
Yeah.
So I just hope that he doesn't go down a bad path because he is extremely successful, and I wish him more continued success. I just hope that he just gets some people that will talk to him about his decisions before he makes some of them.
I'm just waiting for a apology video.
A note screenshot?
Yeah,
I don't think that's gonna happen.
I'm 50-50 on whether
I don't think so. It's gonna be a stream.
Yeah, it could turn out to be like where he plays the victim, like, oh,
you double down on it.
I tried to do something cool, and then the cops made it weird.
Like nah, bro. Like you knew exactly what you were doing. You may have not known the outcome, but you were expecting something to that effect. So that's just me. But
he's definitely gonna talk about it though. For sure. He cannot not do that with his brand. I don't think as a person either, from what I know about him, he's gonna talk about it.
It's the latest antic. Like it's all part of his appeal. Like of course, like it plays into his whole vibe. Like, oh, I went to New York City to do a thing and it turned into a riot. Aren't we such crazy kids? Like they love it. They're happy that.
But the thing is, some of his fans are gonna think that it's real cool.
Yeah.
What happened?
100%.
It's so cool. This happened and we were there, and like it's gonna be a whole thing. People are gonna his fans are gonna.
Because not just him,
Yeah.
him and his fans collectively
Yeah.
did the thing that they all wanted to do, which is be
Yeah.
wild and crazy kids.
I mean, this is like, it's essentially like history repeating itself, because there's always been stuff throughout time where the teenagers at the time have done something crazy. Like, look at Woodstock, for example. Like, that was free and wild, and we're just going to do whatever we want, and, love and peace. Like, that, during that time period, that was like the crazy kids. That was the, so it really is, I guess, all about, it's
Yeah,
just
but
history
instead of
repeating itself.
galvanizing around a collection of musicians, it's this jerk.
Yeah.
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 I'm sorry. I feel like I sound like a hater, but like I don't like the content he makes. I think he's bad.
I mean, I think that's fair, and also what happened makes me dislike him even. I had no opinion of him before, but this makes me actively dislike him. Because I feel like this was incredibly dumb and preventable.
So when I saw him like in person, like at DreamCon, obviously I wasn't like right next to him. There was a mass of people. But it was more so of like I knew at that point, it's like, yeah, I don't like his content. Like, it was more so of like, when you're seeing something like online and you're like, well, maybe I'm just a hater, kind of like what you said, maybe I'm just hating a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw him in person at DreamCon, and then I saw him on like the jumbo screen, and it was in real time, I was like, yeah, I definitely don't like his content. Like, it was just
so he was like basically doing his act, we'll call it, like,
yeah. So they were like doing Family Feud or whatever, and they were asking the questions, and it was just his whole demeanor was just like, yeah, it was off-putting to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was
very over the top and just extra, just super extra.
Okay, I was like, cool, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's not for me. It's not for me.
No, and I don't think we like. It's like being a hater is different. That's just hating something because being a hater, because you just I just hate this because I want to be cool, or it's cool to hate this, or jealousy. But like, we have genuine, like, first off, I have nothing, I think, in common with him. His content is not for me. We're very far off in age. Everything I know about him does not seem to be for me, and this happened. So I don't feel like a hater in any way. I just base it on, this is what I know about him. And granted, I do not know the man. I don't watch his stuff, so I don't know too much about him. But what I know, I don't like.
Would you play Dead by Daylight with him?
No.
You wouldn't play Dead by Daylight with him?
He would be screaming more at me. We can't have that.
He's screaming
more.
Going back,
queen on my stream.
Going back to what y'all said about how people, when it comes to their livelihood and stuff like that, I have a question for you, Sigma. If Kai Cenat came to you and said, "Hey, I want to do a I know you would, because look how big because
that is a measured business decision. And this is the main reason why I sound like a hater, because Kai Cenat and I are both black males. We're both trying to create like a space for myself online as a content creator. I take a lot of pride in the content that I make. Like, I think it's good content, but the reach that he has doing the nonsense that he does far outpaces anything I've ever done, probably anything I ever will do. And like, that's demoralizing as a content creator who tries to make something of substance. So like, it's gonna sound like hate when I say I don't like what he does and I think what he does is bad, but also it's also just true. Like, I think what he does is bad. Like, I think it's harmful. I don't think 20 million people should be watching that. But like, am I an old man and a hater, or is that just my truth? Maybe it's both. I don't know.
Why not
I
both?
do think the content's not for you, and like I said, it's disappointing that one of the biggest streamers who happens to be a black man, this is what he shows. This is what he. In
order for a black man to be the biggest streamer on Twitch, he's got to be a clown, essentially. Like, that's kind of what it reads like.
So that is disappointing. But I also don't think it's the same like, oh, women gotta support women. It's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. If they're a bad person, fuck them. I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. It's just like, it's sad though that if you have someone this is a young black man, he's so famous, he has all this influence, and what does he do with it? And it's kind of sad. But again, like,
it's not necessarily his fault that he kind of stumbled into this position of and the fact that he's young kind of all right, it makes sense that he'd be this immature. Like
Yes.
he's young, so like
Yes.
he has all these reasons to be as dumb as he is.
Yeah.
But on the flip
But it
side,
just
like
doesn't change the fact that I think it's disappointing.
I think
Yeah.
I think
No,
you
no,
know,
I agree.
I'm not trying to pin anyone against anyone, but it's kind of like two different spectrums because, you know, Kai Cenat does this. It's just a bunch of tomfoolery. It really is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But then you have on the flip side, you have Mark Phillips, who is the founder of RDC World, and look how much successful they have been with the funny content that they create. Like he was in a J. Cole video because all the J. Cole stuff he did. He's met LeBron
Yeah, I think
James.
like SportsCenter like continually like
or
retweets
yeah,
like the jokes and skits that they
SportsCenter.
make. Yeah.
Yeah, Sports Center, because they do they're so quick with their content and it's so on like point when it comes to sports related. Like if a little funny situation happens on the court, Marty, literally like 20 minutes later they have a video reenacting it online and it's so on brand and funny.
Oh, okay. I know those guys. Yeah.
Yes. So
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
they're just really, really funny about it. At DreamCon, they talked about, I didn't see it because I wasn't in the main event room, but apparently they have a movie coming out. They're doing some stuff with Jordan Peele and with SRA.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Is it like a documentary
Yes.
or like a movie?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but they did talk about it. Like I wasn't there when they actually said it, but someone had tweeted about it. So they have some stuff in the works with Jordan Peele and SRA. So for them to have that type of success as well without they found different avenues. So there's obviously different avenues for everyone. I'm not a fan of Kai Cenat stuff. So I'm not going to badmouth the kid because I don't know him, but his content simply isn't just for me. It's not.
No, that's the same. I just like putting other people in danger just because you didn't think about it or whatever. If you did it purposely, that is big red flags for me. And I wouldn't like a person that's like that, basically. That's just me. But I also, to his defense, I kind of also want to say that Kai may not want to be someone's role model. Mm-hmm. That's not how he thinks about it. He's just living his life. He's just doing what he finds is fun, and he has these opportunities. Yeah. So I also want to be like, I don't know him. I don't know what he's thinking, because I think it might just be that as well. Because when you're young and his world is the playground currently. He can do whatever the fuck he wants, and he's doing it. And I feel like a lot of people would do that if they had the same chance.
Yeah,
especially at that age.
Very good.
You would
very
fuck
good point.
around.
Very
so
good point.
I have no idea if he wants to be this like, oh, I'm this, black male streamer. I'm the biggest one in the world. Like, I don't know if he thinks about it that way. He might just be thinking, I'm Kai. I like streaming. This is what I like to do. It doesn't have to be deeper than that.
At the end of the day, people are responsible for their own actions. And when it comes to underage kids, parents, that's the parents' responsibility, in my opinion. Like, I'm not a parent. Like, I'm not. So, but please excuse me if I overstep by saying that. But like, at the end of the day, like, if you're allowing your kid to watch that stuff, then but kids are sneaky. Kids are sneaky. So like, at the end of the day, like, we can't hold him responsible for the individual decisions that people make when they come out. Like, at the end of the day. Now, I'm not saying I don't agree with what happened. I'm not saying that at all. But at the end of the day, we can't hold him personally responsible because 10 kids decided to jump on a car and vandalize someone's car. Like, he shouldn't be held responsible for that, if I'm making any sense at all. But at the end of the day,
it's a lot of failings. And this is kind of a societal failing, if we're really being honest. Like,
it is.
It scales out that big. Like, the fact that our whole society is so internet obsessed, and that we had that whole generation locked in the house for 2+ years, and they didn't have they didn't have a real relationship with the real world and outside people, and so like all these kids are broken. It's society's fault. Thanks.
All right, we solved it.
Yep.
Yeah.
that's
there it is. Yeah.
We went a little long despite not having too much to talk about this week. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you to my 3 guests. Honey Money, where can folks find you? What do you have coming up that they can check out?
Twitch.tv, Real Honey. I was like, what's my name? Real Honey Money. I just play Oblivion Mondays through Wednesdays now. I started Life is Strange Remastered. So I'm going through that Thursdays and Fridays. But yeah, I just stream.
You can jump into that Baldur's Gate?
I don't, Marty, I ain't paying $60 for that.
All right,
I ain't paying $70 for Diablo 4. No, Marty, it's not your fault. I'm a poor person. I can't afford the $60 game. I gotta wait for them sales.
Hey, gift Honey Money Baldur's Gate 3.
You know you want to.
It's
Marty.
okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was saying it's okay, Honey Money. I'm about to buy Ghost of Tsushima, and that came out what, like 2-3 years ago. So I get it. I totally understand. Totally get it.
That's
Okay.
me. I'm like years after when the games come. I'm like, oh, it's on sale. I can buy it now. Great.
I
That's
like
basically
you.
my life.
That game's sick as hell. Ghost of Tsushima is sick as hell. Not Oblivion. I don't care about Oblivion.
Marty, what do you have coming up? Where can folks find you?
Yeah, you can find me also on my own channel at McBiggity, the name up there. I'll be streaming later today, probably around 5 or so, because we got a newly released stream. Frost and Amy will be playing. Amy's back from ExileCon, so you'll find out about that. I don't know what that means, but she got back from ExileCon. I think there's a lot of books about people getting back, like the Odyssey is all about getting back from an ExileCon.
ExileCon sounds like Amy was exiled.
She was. Yeah. She's an exiled con. That's what Australia
That's what Australia is.
Yeah. And yeah, so later today, probably around 5 or 6 p.m. Central, I'll be starting either Resident Evil 0. Yeah, have you played Resident Evil 0? You dead?
No, what?
She's still there?
Kat, did you hear?
What? Me?
Oh, me? Who? Me or Honey Money?
No, Kat.
Yeah.
Because we bonded over Resi 4. I wasn't sure if you ever played Resident Evil 0.
I have not. No, I was like, huh? No, I have not. No, I have not.
Okay, so I might be starting that or Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh,
I finished Resident Evil Remake recently. Let me tell you, delightful game. Like the original Resident Evil remake.
Oh,
not the
remake of the original. No, the remake of the original Resident Evil. 2002's Resident Evil remake.
Oh my god, it's
Very
so
confusing.
complicated.
The remake of the remake?
No, it was technically, yeah, it was a remaster of the remake. It wasn't widescreen. Game names were a mistake. Yeah, so go there. Bye.
Nice. Kat, where can folks find you? Do you have anything coming up that they can check out?
I have nothing. So Sigma, thank you for always letting me come on your podcast because I love coming on here and just chatting. So I don't really have a lot going on. You can find me on Instagram and X or Twitter, whatever it's called.
I'm just not doing it.
It's Twitter. You can find me on Twitter. It's the same as Yukina Cat. I don't have a lot going on, but I've been playing a lot of Magic.
The Gathering?
Yes.
Okay.
I've been playing it online, and did y'all see like how Post Malone bought that one card?
Yeah,
okay.
we were talking about that last night.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I wanted to talk about this earlier, but we just kind of. Is it okay if I talk about it? Okay.
Go right ahead.
So I've been getting in. I've played Magic off and on the last few years, but I want to say probably the last 6 months I've really been getting into it, and I've been playing the mobile app. So I'm really getting into Magic. So shout out to my friend Vincent. He actually bought me the.
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh.
That's the Lord of the Rings little side.
The booster cards. Yeah. So this was the one where it was possible that the one ring was like inside of it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
So I haven't opened up all the packs yet, but I've just really been getting into Magic lately. Like a lot. And then also there is a girl on Etsy. She makes custom Magic cards that can actually be played in the game. I don't know if they can actually be played via like in tournaments and stuff.
Yeah.
You can actually implement them into your decks or implement into your cards. So these are actually Sailor Moon.
Ooh.
Sailor Moon Magic cards. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Shout out to Vincent again. It was the best birthday present ever.
That's so cool.
So
yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I just been really into Magic lately. So I don't know if I guess I say that to say if anyone wants to play on the mobile app, just message me on Instagram or Twitter, on the Discord. I just really been getting into Magic.
Nice.
So I guess that's didn't mean to.
No. That's what you've been up to.
So
they can find you playing.
It's cool that Magic's like expanding into. So besides that, Lord of the Rings, yesterday they announced Final Fantasy, Fallout, and Assassin's Creed.
Oh wow!
Are all getting Magic sets in that same sort of like.
That's really cool.
Alternate use, so it's almost becoming like fucking Fortnite, which is cool. I think that's cool.
The Fortnite.
I'm still a There is one thing about the Lord of the Rings set. There's one card I really want to find, and I hope it's in this one. It's the Aragon and Arwen card. Apparently it's
Post
causing
Malone bought that one too.
I think it's in multiple sets, but it's like apparently it's causing a lot of controversy because in the card Aragon is actually black. And it's causing like a lot of
yeah, that's the whole thing. Jesus.
No, but yeah, that's where you can find me playing Magic. So if you just want to message me on Instagram, Twitter, or I'm in the Open Party Discord, I'd love to play because that's just really what I've been into lately. So
sweet. As always, you guys can find me at Sigma Gears 9 on Twitch, Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky. Though I'm not really posting on Blue Sky. I think Blue Sky is real uppity right now.
Uppity?
Like I don't know. It's hard to explain. Anyway, check out Adventures Nigh episode 2 if you're a member. That just launched yesterday. I've not seen it yet myself, but I'm very excited to watch it when I get some time. I should have a review dropping on Escapist for Atlas Fallen in the next couple of days. Marty and I started our playthrough of Portal, and we should be getting into Portal 2 by this Thursday as well. Jesse and I started Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. We're having a great time learning about pirate history on those streams. Get Jesse to the booty is what we're.
You guys are going to finish it this week, right? I heard Jesse's about to roll credits.
He's called Booty McCheeks.
Cheeks.
Yeah, Booty McCheeks.
Incredible.
So we're having
interesting.
Fun streams over on Escapist you can check out.
Heck yeah.
Later today, Jeff will be returning to help me host Super Smash Sunday. 3 hours of King of the Hill competitive level Smash.
Damn it, Bobby.
It's a great time. Even if you're not like trying to play Smash, like Jeff and I get into different conversations and we commentate everybody else who's coming in. If you want to learn Smash, we can help you. Like we've had people basically start from like 0 and get good enough to like beat Jeff and myself in matches. So we can help you.
Sigma, maybe I should buy that today, and maybe I should participate in Super Smash Sunday.
We would love to have you.
I have a Switch now, so maybe I'll spend that $60, even though Smash came out years ago and Nintendo will never change their prices. Maybe I'll buy that today. So you might see me pop in the chat and say I want to play.
Kazi is in the game. He's a Tekken boy. You like Tekken?
Who? Oh yeah, Kazi is in there.
Yeah, Kazi is in it.
If anyone wants to play me in Tekken, you can find me there too.
Don't play Cat and Tekken. She will destroy you.
That is not true. Just come play.
She will make you cry.
Come play. But anyways, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, Sigma. But
no, that's fine. That's pretty much it for what I have going on. So thanks everybody in chat for hanging out with us. Thanks to my 3 guests. I will not be here next week because I'll be traveling for my son's birthday. It's a birthday weekend. So I'll be
happy early birthday.
Yeah.
So we'll be back probably 2 weeks from now. See you then. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks, our daughter.